Chapter 111. Swoosh. Lin Jingtian's death caused Wang Ku and Zhao Peng's expressions to turn ugly. After all, they were only in the early stages of the true martial realm. If Lin Jingtian, who was in the middle stages of the true martial realm, could be killed, what more of them? However, they did not intend to give up. After exchanging glances, they rose from the ground and rushed towards Ningyu. They were betting on the fact that Ningyu was heavily injured and could not use his full strength. Energy gathering handprint. Facing Wang Ku and Zhao Peng's attacks, Ningyu's expression turned cold. His wrists quickly formed a seal, and he displayed the energy gathering handprint. As the energy gathering handprint was displayed, the surrounding yuan qi gathered. The originally empty qi whirlpool regained some yuan qi. Teisho Kenpo. As soon as the yuan qi in the qi whirlpool recovered, Ningyu waved the soul-severing sword and displayed the third form of the supreme nine purities sword skill, Teisho Kenpo. Boom! A sword wave suddenly formed and arrived in front of Wang Ku at a frightening speed. It gradually expanded in front of his eyes and finally landed heavily on his chest. Bang! The huge impact caused Wang Ku to retreat dozens of feet before he could stabilize his body. Poochie! However, the moment the sword wave hit Wang Ku, Zhao Peng had already arrived in front of Ningyu. He threw out a punch and landed squarely on Ningyu's shoulder. The huge force on his shoulder caused Ningyu to taste sweetness in his throat. He spat out a mouthful of fresh blood and his face turned pale. When he killed Lin Jingtian, Ningyu had already used up a lot of his energy and his strength had dropped by more than half. Coupled with the forceful display of Teisho Kenpo, he had almost no strength to fight back. If not for the spirit transformation technique's rapid absorption of yuan qi, Ningyu might not even be able to stand now. Little bastard die. With a ferocious expression, Zhao Peng raised his right leg and kicked towards Ningyu's head. This kick was so powerful that if Ningyu was unlucky enough to be kicked, he would be crippled even if he did not die. Whoosh! At this critical moment, Ningyu's soul power wrapped around his legs, forcing him to take a few steps back, barely dodging Zhao Peng's fatal attack. Green Sun Fruit. After dodging the attack, Ningyu hurriedly took out the Azure Yang fruit from a storage ring. Although refining the Azure Sun fruit was rather dangerous, the current Ningyu couldn't care less. He opened his mouth wide and swallowed the Azure Sun fruit into his stomach. Buzz! As soon as the Azure Sun fruit entered his stomach, a surge of energy spread out in his stomach, crashing left and right in an extremely unstable manner. Damn it! Cursing inwardly, Ningyu pushed his speed to the limit, dodging left and right. Kid, do you only know how to dodge? Zhao Peng's expression was extremely gloomy. He knew that Ningyu had already reached the end of his rope. If they were to fight head-on, Zhao Peng had an 80% chance of killing him. However, Ningyu didn't fight head-on with him. Instead, he kept dodging. Facing Ningyu's dodging, Zhao Peng couldn't do anything. After all, his instantaneous burst of speed was far from Ningyu's. It's not a solution to continue dodging like this. Ningyu knew that although the Azure Sun fruit could replenish the energy consumed, the speed of replenishment was obviously not as fast as the speed of consumption. If this continued, Zhao Peng would catch up to him sooner or later. All right. Suddenly, Ningyu's eyes lit up. Pushing his speed to the limit, he sprinted into the distance. Two old dogs, I'm not going to play with you anymore. I'm going to make a trip to your family now. Hearing Ningyu's words, Zhao Peng and Wang Ku's expression changed. Without any time to think, they immediately chased after him. In order to besiege the Ning family, they had mobilized all the elites from their respective families. At this critical moment, if Ningyu were to attack them, the consequences would be unthinkable. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. In the sky above Tianjin City, one in front and two behind, three silhouettes were sprinting. The one in front was Ningyu. The two elders behind him were Zhao Peng and Wang Ku. Son of a bitch, you won't be able to escape. Zhao Peng scolded as he sprinted. Son of a bitch, don't let us catch up to you. Otherwise, you'll have to bear the consequences. Wang Ku was furious as he roared. I must leave Tianjin City. Turning around to look at Wang Ku and Zhao Peng, who were closing in on him, Ningyu sped up again. He changed his direction and sprinted out of Tianxian City. As for Wang Ku and Zhao Peng, they didn't think too much and followed him. They only had one goal, which was to kill Ningyu. With Ningyu's capabilities, once he escaped and recovered to his peak, there would be no place for them in Tianxian City. Therefore, they made up their minds to kill Ningyu when he is heavily injured. At the same time, at the Drunken Cloud Inn, Ningyu, to think you'd have such a day. The corner of Song Fei's mouth curled up as an evil smile flashed across his face. Owner, do you think it's time to help the Ning family? An early-stage Xiantian warrior asked cautiously. Song Fei was in a good mood. Pass down my order. All warriors of the Drunken Cloud brothel above the Xiantian realm are to move out. We must ensure that the Ning family is not attacked again. Owner, Ningyu, the early-stage Xiantian warrior asked. However, before he could finish his sentence, Song Fei interrupted. What we need to do is to help the Ning family, not Ningyu. Besides, the ones chasing Ningyu are two early-stage, true martial realm warriors. With the current strength of the Drunken Cloud brothel, even if we want to help, we don't have the strength. Go and pass down the order. Song Fei waved his hand and said, don't ask about anything else. Yes. The early-stage Xiantian warrior nodded and left. Swoosh. Not long after the early-stage Xiantian warrior left, a figure quietly appeared beside Song Fei. Seeing the figure, Song Fei greeted respectfully Senior Zhang Jin. Song Fei, the family head has ordered that Ningyu must die. Zhang Jin narrowed his eyes and said in a low voice, originally, when Ningyu went to the frozen cave to participate in the test, I couldn't do anything. Since he has returned to Tianxian City, I can't miss this opportunity. Senior, Ningyu is very strong. Even the Lin family's elder, Lin Jingtian, died in his hands. In front of Zhang Jin, Song Fei did not even dare to breathe loudly. He said carefully, however, he was also severely injured. At this moment, the Zhao family's Wang's elder is chasing after him. That useless Lin Jingtian dares to call himself elder? With a cold snort, Zhang Jin said gloomily, a middle-stage true martial realm warrior like him, I can kill him with one hand. Since you have already pledged your allegiance to the Zhang family, I will definitely not let you suffer. Come with me. When the time comes, I will let you kill Ningyu with your own hands. Thank you, Senior. Hearing Zhang Jin's words, Song Fei was overjoyed and hurriedly thanked him. Ever since Ningyu embarrassed him at Drunken Cloud Inn, his hatred for Ningyu had reached the sky. There was not a moment that he did not want to kill Ningyu. Originally, he thought that with Zhang Wenyong, he could kill Ningyu. Who would have thought that Zhang Wenyong, that useless trash, would be killed by Ningyu? Now, Zhang Jin was many times stronger than Zhang Wenyong. In his opinion, even if Ningyu had 10 lives, he would not be able to escape the fate of death. Chapter 112. Swoosh. In the dense forest, a shadow flashed by, bringing with it a strong gust of wind that shook the surrounding trees. Damn it, I need to find a place to refine the Qingyang fruit. Ningyu looked back at the two figures behind him and cursed. He gathered his soul energy around his legs and increased his speed once again. After leaving Tianxian City, Ningyu increased his speed to the limit in an attempt to shake off Wang Ku and Zhao Peng. Because his yuan qi was almost depleted, he needed to replenish it as soon as possible. Son of a bitch, you can't escape. Wang Ku's face was gloomy as he growled into Ningyu's ears. I advise you to surrender. Only then will you die in one piece. Wang Ku stopped talking nonsense with him. Hurry up and catch up. Next to him, Zhao Peng's face was gloomy. Then, a strong gust of yuan qi gushed out of his body and doubled his speed. Seeing Zhao Peng's action, Wang Ku was first stunned. Then, he gritted his teeth, and similarly, a violent gust of yuan qi gushed out of his body and gathered on his legs as he gave chase. Not good. Feeling the two strong gusts of wind behind him, Ningyu's expression changed. He swung the soul-severing sword and slashed twice. Innate malevolent sword ripple. Due to the excessive consumption of yuan qi, Ningyu could no longer use the third move of the 9 Pure One Sword technique, Teisho Kenpo. He could only use the second move, innate malevolent sword ripple. Plus, the power of the innate malevolent sword ripple was not at its peak. Its power had decreased by at least half. Bang! Casually dispersing the sword ray in front of him, Wang Ke's lips curled up. In an instant, he appeared in front of Ningyu and slashed out with his palm. As if he could see Ningyu's tragic death, Wang Ke sneered. Ningyu, in your next life, remember, do not offend what? However, before Wang Ke's palm could touch Ningyu's body, his eyes revealed a terrified expression. He bent his legs in the air, turned his head around, and dashed backward. Since you're here, don't go back. Smiling faintly, Ningyu willed his mind. Immediately, a huge blood-red shadow of a corpse appeared behind him. Bloody corpse shadow. Wang Ke let out a heart-wrenching roar. You're from the corpse sect. Run. This was the first thought that came to Wang Ke's mind when he saw the bloody corpse. However, he was clearly slower than the blood-colored corpse shadow. In the blink of an eye, the corpse shadow caught up to him and smashed his head. Poochie. The huge impact on his head caused Wang Ke to instantly collapse. He coughed up a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground, unable to get up. Little bastard. Seeing Wang Ke's miserable state, Zhao Peng abruptly stopped in the air. He looked at Ningyu with a gloomy expression and said, So you are a member of the corpse sect. I will tell this news to everyone in Xiantian City. Xiao. With that, Zhao Peng turned around and rushed towards Xiantian City. In fact, Zhao Peng was very clear that the power of the bloody corpse shadow was not too strong. It was only equivalent to a true martial realm martial artist. However, the reputation of the corpse sect was too great. It was so great that he did not dare to resist and could only think of escaping. Oomph. Do you think you can escape? With a cold snort, Ningyu used his soul force to control the bloody corpse shadow. In an instant, it rushed to Zhao Peng's side and blocked his path of retreat. Bloody corpse shadow, go for me. A low voice came out from Ningyu's mouth. Then, a powerful pressure was emitted from the bloody corpse shadow and ruthlessly suppressed Zhao Peng. Cloud-splitting palm. Seeing that he could not escape, Zhao Peng clenched his teeth and quickly formed a seal with his wrist. In an instant, several illusory palms appeared and collided with the bloody corpse shadow. Chi. The bloody corpse shadow was extremely corrosive. Although it was not as corrosive as the corpsine chi, it was not much weaker. The moment the illusory palms formed by Zhao Peng's yuan chi touched the bloody corpse shadow, they were corroded and dissipated. When a person was on the verge of death, the combat power that erupted from them was extremely shocking. Although he was extremely afraid, for the sake of survival, Zhao Peng still fought the bloody corpse shadow to a standstill. No, I have to leave this place as soon as possible. Although he fought the bloody corpse shadow to a standstill, Zhao Peng was very clear that with his chaotic mind, he was destined to be no match for the bloody corpse shadow. It would not be long before he was defeated. Bang! After forcing the bloody corpse shadow back with one strike, Zhao Peng found an opportunity and quickly ran into the distance. I've been waiting for a long time. Teisho Kenpo. However, the moment Zhao Peng retreated, Ningyu waved the soul-breaking sword and stabbed out. The sky changed color, and a shocking sword aura appeared in the sky. Under Zhao Peng's horrified eyes, it ruthlessly slashed down. While Zhao Peng was fighting the bloody corpse shadow, Ningyu seized the opportunity to desperately refine the Azure Sun fruit. Although he did not completely refine it, there was already a lot of yuan chi stored in his sea of consciousness. It was enough for him to perform Teisho Kenpo. Zhao Peng only wanted to escape, but he did not expect the sudden appearance of sword aura. For a moment, he panicked. In the instant that he panicked, the monstrous sword light suddenly slashed down, and without any deviation, it slashed right onto his chest. Puffed. A crisp sound was heard, and Zhao Peng lowered his head slightly. Looking at the wound on his chest, he opened his mouth slightly. Just as he was about to speak, his body fell straight to the ground with a plop. Phew! After confirming that Zhao Peng was dead, Ningyu let out a long sigh of relief. His tense heart was slightly relieved. Bloody corpse shadow, come back. With a thought, Ningyu stored the bloody corpse shadow into his storage ring. Ningyu knew that he could kill Wang Ku and Zhao Peng this time because of the bloody corpse shadow. Otherwise, with his current state, he would definitely die in the hands of Wang Ku and Zhao Peng. Let me see what you have on you. Ningyu was not a saint. Naturally, he would not do something like collecting the bodies of Wang Ku and Zhao Peng. Instead, he came to their side and searched their bodies. 50 high-grade essence crystals, 2 low-grade earth-rank flying swords. Ningyu was very disappointed and almost cursed out loud, because on Wang Ku and Zhao Peng, he only found 50 high-grade essence crystals and 2 low-grade earth-rank flying swords. Forget it. It's better than nothing. Pursing his lips, Ningyu put the 50 high-grade essence crystals and the 2 low-grade earth-rank flying swords into his storage ring. Then he sat cross-legged and slowly circulated the spirit transformation technique in his body. He began to refine the remaining azure yang fruit in his body. The energy contained in the azure yang fruit was extremely powerful. Although he had been refining it along the way, there was still a lot of energy that was not refined and remained in Ningyu's body. The absorption speed of the spirit transformation technique was extremely fast. After about 2 hours, Ningyu completely refined the remaining azure yang fruit in his body. The spirit transformation technique had completely replenished the energy within his body, and he'd recovered to his peak state. I should be able to attempt to charge into the advanced stage of the congenital realm now. With a flick of his wrist, Ningyu took out the high-grade essence crystals he'd obtained from Wang Ku and Zhao Peng. If he cultivated normally, Ningyu would need at least another month to advance into the advanced stage of the congenital realm. But after going through a few battles, he felt that the vortex faintly showed signs of expanding, so he decided to charge into the advanced stage of the congenital realm. Swoosh! However, Ningyu had just taken out the high-grade essence crystals when his pupils constricted, and he instantly stood up with the soul-severing sword in his hand. Chapter 113. Let's go. Without the slightest hesitation, Ningyu rose from the ground and dashed into the depths of the forest in a flash. The yuan qi under his feet continued to burn and sizzle. Ningyu raised his speed to the limit and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Shwa! Just as Ningyu left, a figure landed on the ground. 2 early-stage, true martial realm warriors. Looking at Wang Ku and Zhao Peng lying on the ground, the figure frowned and mumbled, "They must have been killed by Ningyu. Not simple indeed." Originally, Zhang Jin thought that Ningyu was just a Hotian realm warrior. Now, it seemed that he had underestimated Ningyu. First, he killed Lin Jingtian, who was in the middle stage true martial realm. Then, he killed 2 early-stage true martial realm warriors while escaping. From this, it could be seen that he was not weak. Shua! Right at this moment, another figure dashed over. "Senior, isn't Ningyu here?" the figure asked respectfully after he appeared. Waving his hand, Zhang Jin said, "According to his aura, Ningyu has just left. If we go after him now, we should be able to catch up with him." Hearing this, Song Fei was overjoyed. "Senior, let's not waste any more time. Let's go now. Let's go. I also want to see who this Ningyu is." Nodding his head, Zhang Jin grabbed Song Fei and dashed out. Zhang Jin's aura was vigorous and powerful. Although he was carrying Song Fei, he did not slow down at all. Even though Ningyu had recovered to his peak and was burning his soul energy to increase his speed, Zhang Jin still caught up to him after 10 minutes. Song Fei, standing on a giant tree, Ningyu's face was gloomy. He said coldly, "Why are you chasing me?" "Haha, since we were chasing after you, we naturally want to take your life." Song Fei smiled and said, "Ningyu, with Senior Zhang Jin here, you won't be able to escape today." Looking at the man beside Song Fei, Ningyu's heart sank. Although Zhang Jin was also in the middle stage of the true martial realm, his aura was extremely vigorous. It was not something that Lin Jingtian, who was in the middle stage of the true martial realm, could compare with. It could be said that if Zhang Jin wanted to kill Lin Jingtian, it would be a piece of cake. Ningyu, to be able to kill a martial artist in the middle stage of the true martial realm while still in the Xiantian stage, I admire you very much. A wisp of disappointment appeared in Zhang Jin's eyes as he said, "If you hadn't killed Zhang Wenyong, I might have considered taking you as my disciple. As for now, I can only take your life. If you want to fight, then let's fight." Cut the crap. With a breaking soul sword in front of him, Ningyu's essence surged in his sea of consciousness. He said coldly, "There are many people who want to take my life. Who do you think you are?" "Good, very good. Young people should have some guts." As he spoke, Zhang Jin changed the topic and said gloomily, "However, you have used your guts on the wrong person." As soon as he said the word wrong, Zhang Jin suddenly jumped up, clenched his right hand into a fist, and punched out. Chi-chi. Wherever the fist passed, the air would sizzle and spread out in all directions. Facing such a fierce punch from Zhang Jin, Ningyu didn't dare to be careless. He quickly gathered his primordial chi on his wrist and pushed out his fist. It collided with Zhang Jin's fist. Bang! When the two fists collided, there was not much of a ripple. However, the huge force from the fist caused Ningyu's hand to hurt and his body to fly backward. Kacha! As Ningyu flew backward, the towering tree beneath him suddenly cracked from the inside out. Whirlwind kick. In the next moment, Zhang Jin dashed forward again. On both his legs, thick essence pulsed continuously and finally swept out. Sha-sha! His legs brought about a strong gust of wind, and the surrounding stones on the ground were blown into the air. They were all aimed at Ningyu's face. Netherworld Samsara Palm, Netherworld Fiend. Before he could recover, Ningyu formed a seal with his wrist and pushed out with his palm. The violent palm print directly shattered the stones in front of him. Bang! However, the moment the stones were shattered, Zhang Jin's legs had already arrived in front of Ningyu and ruthlessly swept at his body. Puchi! The powerful force caused Ningyu to feel a sweet taste in his throat. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face turned slightly pale. After 2 moves, Zhang Jin stopped and said indifferently, "Ningyu, I am not trash like Lin Jingtian. In front of me, you have no chance to resist. Your cultivation has already reached the peak of the middle stage of the true martial realm. You are only 1 step away from advancing to the late stage of the true martial realm." With a serious expression, Ningyu said in a low voice, "Back then, Zhang Wenyong wanted to kill me, but I killed him. Now you want to kill me too? I will let you know that it is not that easy to kill me." As he spoke, Ningyu's eyes turned cold, and a purple flame danced in his pupils. Then, the purple flame in his consciousness suddenly sprang out and stopped on his finger. Wind, thunder, fire. Seeing the purple flame dancing in Ningyu's hand, Zhang Jin was startled at first. Then, he revealed a joyful expression and said, "You actually devoured the wind, thunder, fire. Ha! It seems that this trip was not in vain. I must obtain the wind, thunder, fire." Zhang Jin was a 3rd-grade alchemist, and his soul strength had reached the early stage of the 4th grade. In his opinion, as long as he could obtain the wind, thunder, fire, there was a high chance that he would be able to refine a 4th-grade elixir and advance to a 4th-grade alchemist. Thinking about this, Zhang Jin revealed a greedy expression and said, "Hand over the wind, thunder, fire, and I promise to spare your life." "Spare my life? Do you think I'm a 3-year-old? Hissing coldly, Ningyu flicked his finger, and the purple flame on his fingertip shot out. With a shocking speed, it arrived before Zhang Jin. "You're seeking death." Staring at the approaching purple flame, Zhang Jin's eyes turned cold. He quickly formed a hand seal, and a miniature yuan chi barrier appeared before him. It then pressed down on the purple flame. Chi! The wind, thunder, fire was extremely powerful. In an instant, it shattered the yuan chi barrier that Zhang Jin had created. Wind, thunder, fire, bring it on. In the next second, the corner of Zhang Jin's lips curled up. He reached into his robe and took out a black pouch. Oh no! Looking at the black pouch, Ningyu's expression changed. He quickly summoned his soul and attempted to summon the wind, thunder, fire back. Because he realized that the black pouch that Zhang Jin had summoned was no ordinary item. It was at least of the heaven rank. You want to escape from the black dragon pouch? Get in here. The black dragon pouch suddenly opened up and exploded with a powerful suction force. Though the wind, thunder, fire had already been devoured by Ningyu, it could not resist the powerful suction force of the black dragon pouch and was sucked in. Chapter 114. 8 Desolation Heaven Opening Palm. With a flick of his wrist, Zhang Jin instantly blasted out a palm strike that contained dense soul fluctuations. Soul attack technique. In order to kill Ningyu as soon as possible, Zhang Jin displayed his trump card, 8 Desolation Heaven Opening Palm. Netherworld Samsara Palm, Netherworld Fiend. Facing Zhang Jin's palm strike, Ningyu did not dare to be careless. All the soul force in his body gushed out and gathered on his wrist. Then, he quickly formed a seal and blasted out a palm strike. Soul attack technique. Feeling the dense soul fluctuations on Ningyu's palm strike, Zhang Jin was slightly startled. Then, a look of ecstasy appeared on his face. Soul attack techniques were extremely rare. Without paying a high price, it was basically impossible to obtain one. Previously, in order to obtain the 8 Desolation Heaven Opening Palm, he had spent a lot of effort and almost died in the demonic dragon ruins. He did not expect that Ningyu also possessed a soul attack technique. Moreover, its power was not weak. Bang! At this moment, the sound of the 2 palm strikes colliding spread throughout the area. Song Fei screamed in pain as the soul fluctuations spread in all directions. After all, Song Fei's cultivation was only at the late Xiantian realm. Facing such fierce soul fluctuations, he naturally could not withstand it. If not for Zhang Jin blocking a part of the aftershocks for him, he would have already met his maker. Poochie. After the muffled sound, Ningyu once again spat out a mouthful of blood. His breathing was restless and unstable. Both Ningyu and Song Fei soul force had reached the 4th grade. Although their soul forces were almost the same, in terms of pure strength, Ningyu was a level lower than Zhang Jin. One was at the middle stage of the Xiantian realm, while the other was at the peak of the middle stage of the true martial realm. Even though Ningyu had used all his strength to resist, he could not completely resolve the power of the 8 Desolation Heaven Opening Palm. A wave of soul force had quietly entered his sea of consciousness and was currently corroding the Yuan Qi in his sea of consciousness. Damn it, Teisho Kenpo. Ningyu forcibly suppressed the violent soul power ripples in his sea of consciousness. Then, he brandished his sword. Suddenly, a wave of sword light burst out, slashing towards Zhang Jin's head. This sword light was almost the strongest combat power that Ningyu could unleash at this stage. It was either succeed or die trying. Black Dragon Sword Chi. Even though Zhang Jin was mentally prepared for the attack that Ningyu had unleashed in an instant, he still couldn't help but feel shocked. With a thought, Zhang Jin hurriedly took out a black flying sword and slashed out with it. A shocking sword chi swept out to meet Ningyu's Teisho Kenpo. Chi 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 chi. In the time it took for a spark to fly off a flint, the sword chi and the sword wave collided. An extremely terrifying shock wave spread out in all directions at an astonishing speed. This powerful shock wave was enough to kill a Xiantian full-circle martial artist. Zhang Jin's figure flashed and appeared in front of Song Fei, shielding him from the deadly shock wave. Although Song Fei's cultivation was only at the late stage of the Xiantian realm, in Zhang Jin's opinion, Song Fei was a member of the Drunken Cloud Inn. He was a chess piece that he had sent into the Drunken Cloud Manor. At the very least, he couldn't die now. Ningyu, you are now an arrow at the end of its flight. I advise you to obediently hand over the wind, thunder, and fire, and you will be spared the pain of the soul devouring. After the shock wave dispersed, Zhang Jin said indifferently, I have a way to extract your soul from your body while you are still alive. Zhang Jin, it is still too early to talk about this. With a gloomy face, Ningyu took a deep breath. Immediately, All the spiritual qi in his sea of consciousness gushed out. Swoosh! Looking at the powerful spiritual qi fluctuation around Ningyu, Zhang Jin's expression changed. He was slightly moved, because he found that the strength of the spiritual qi around Ning Yu was infinitely close to the true martial realm. The spiritual qi in his body was already this strong at the middle stage of the Xiantian realm. What would happen if he advanced to the true martial realm? No, no, could it be? All of a sudden, Zhang Jin's eyes widened in shock as he looked at Ningyu. With his mouth slightly agape, he exclaimed, "You have two cyclones in your body." As a middle-stage, true martial realm martial artist, Zhang Jin naturally knew that some geniuses could split their cyclones. However, those were extremely rare. Even in Danwu College, there were not many students who could split their cyclones. Furthermore, they did it in the Xiantian realm. It must be the cyclones splitting, otherwise the spiritual qi in my body wouldn't be so strong. Clenching his fists tightly, Zhang Jin's face turned fiery. Today, Ningyu had given him too much of a shock. First, it was the wind, thunder, and fire, followed by the soul attack. However, the shock that these two had given him was far inferior to the last one, cyclone splitting. As long as I can force out the method of cyclone splitting, I can even split my cyclone into two when I am in the middle stage of the true martial realm. Thinking of this, Zhang Jin laughed excitedly. As long as he could split his cyclone into two, his strength would increase by several folds. At that time, even if he were to face a late-stage, true martial realm martial artist, he would still be able to defeat them easily. Thinking of this, the corner of Zhang Jin's mouth rose as he looked at Ningyu as if he was looking at a treasure. "I'm not going to play with you anymore. Now, I'll let you taste the pain of having your soul devoured." As soon as he finished speaking, Zhang Jin's soul force crazily gushed out from his body and attacked Ningyu's head. "Humph! Aren't you afraid of the wind cutting your tongue?" Coldly snorting, Ningyu's soul force surged around his body. He was not afraid in the slightest. His soul force had reached the 4th grade, while Zhang Jin's was only at the 4th grade. Both of them were evenly matched, and neither could gain the upper hand. In his previous life, Ningyu was a peak 9th grade alchemist. His control over his soul force was more than a level higher than Zhang Jin's. Therefore, if they were to compete in soul force, it was hard to tell who would win. Hee, Ningyu, do you really think I want to compete with your soul force? Just as the two surges of soul force were about to collide, Zhang Jin suddenly let out a strange laugh and withdrew his soul force back into his consciousness. His body then appeared next to Ningyu, and he threw a punch. Die! The corner of his mouth curled up into an evil smile. As if he could see Ningyu's heart being blown apart, Zhang Jin coldly said, "Remember, in your next life, don't offend those you shouldn't." However, before Zhang Jin could finish his sentence, he let out a squeal like a pig being slaughtered and quickly retracted his wrist. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Looking at his bloodied palm, Zhang Jin couldn't help but curse out loud. He shouted angrily, "Ningyu, what kind of trick did you use? How dare you plot against me? It's a small turtle shell." Actually, when Zhang Jin let out a squeal, Ningyu was still in a daze. Then, he regained his senses. What was stuck in his chest was none other than the armored dragon turtle's small turtle shell. Previously, a small turtle shell could cut off the winged thunder rhino's horn, let alone Zhang Jin's flesh and blood. Go! Ningyu didn't think too much about it. Instead, he grabbed hold of the fleeting opportunity. His soul force poured out and entered Zhang Jin's consciousness while he was in a rage. "Suppress him." A low voice came out from Ningyu's mouth. Then, he controlled his soul force and crazily suppressed Zhang Jin's consciousness. Because his control over his soul force had reached its peak, Ningyu used half of his soul force to suppress Zhang Jin's yuan qi and the other half to suppress Zhang Jin's soul force. Chapter 115. Both your yuan and strength of the soul have been suppressed by me. You can only use 30% of your strength now. Snorting, Ning Yu's yuan qi gushed out of his body and entered the soul-breaking sword. He then slashed out multiple rays of light. Damn it! Black Dragon Sword Qi. Cursing, Zhang Jin waved the Black Dragon sword in his hand. Instantly, multiple rays of sword qi appeared and went up against the rays of light. Then, Zhang Jin took out the Black Dragon pouch. The pouch opened and a powerful suction force emerged, trying to suck in the rays of light that Ning Yu had slashed out. Zhang Jin, if you were in your peak condition, I might be afraid of you. However, the current you is no longer a match for me. Ning Yu's expression turned cold. He rose from the ground, formed a seal with his wrist, and threw out a punch. Bang! The giant fist grew larger and larger before Zhang Jin's eyes. Finally, under his horrified gaze, the fist landed on his chest. Chi-Chi. At the same time, the soul-breaking sword Qi dispersed the Black Dragon sword Qi and neutralized this powerful attack. Go! In the next second, the soul-breaking sword left his hand and stabbed at the Black Dragon pouch. Because Zhang Jin was severely injured, the suction force from the Black Dragon pouch weakened significantly. The soul-breaking sword seized the opportunity and broke the pouch. Wind, thunder, fire. The moment the pouch was broken, Ning Yu summoned the wind, thunder, fire, and thunder with his strength of the soul. After the wind, thunder, and fire were summoned, they did not stay in the air. Instead, they entered Ning Yu's consciousness. Together with the remaining wind, thunder, and fire, they quickly expelled the strand of Zhang Jin's soul consciousness. Pucci. This series of events caused Zhang Jin to spit out a mouthful of fresh blood. Explode. Ning Yu's eyes turned cold. His soul force forced the essence qi in Zhang Jin's sea of consciousness to a corner. Then he shouted in a low voice. Suddenly, an extremely subtle explosion sound came from Zhang Jin's sea of consciousness. Pa pa pa. Following that, more explosions could be heard. Zhang Jin's eyes widened in shock, and fear appeared in his eyes. Soul power come back. After the explosion reached its limit, Ning Yu withdrew the soul force from Zhang Jin's sea of consciousness. Bang! Just as he retracted his soul force, Zhang Jin's head exploded with a bang. After the head exploded, a powerful soul force rushed out and flew into the distance. Soul-breaking sword. How could Ning Yu give Zhang Jin's soul power the chance to escape? With a flick of his wrist, the absolute soul sword flew out of his hand, and he gave chase. Not only was the soul-severing sword a heaven-grade flying sword, but it was also a devouring flying sword. It had an extremely powerful devouring power towards soul power. Not long after, Zhang Jin's soul force was devoured by the absolute soul sword. Buzz. After devouring Zhang Jin's soul force, the absolute soul sword trembled slightly and let out a buzzing sound, like a happy child. Does it have its own consciousness? Slightly stunned, Ning Yu tried to communicate with the breaking soul sword. However, the breaking soul sword only trembled a few times before returning to normal. Since he couldn't figure it out, Ning Yu decided to ignore it and put the breaking soul sword into his storage ring. Then, he started searching Zhang Jin's body. Black Dragon pouch, Black Dragon sword. The Black Dragon sword and Black Dragon pouch were both heaven-grade magic treasures. Naturally, Ning Yu wouldn't miss out on them. He put them both into his storage ring, planning to erase the soul imprint inside when he had the chance. Storage ring. After searching for a while, Ning Yu found a storage ring on Zhang Jin's body and forcefully inserted his soul force into it. 1 million high-grade essence crystals. Ning Yu was overjoyed because he found 1 million high-grade essence crystals inside the storage ring. I didn't expect Zhang Jin to be so rich. This is worth it. After putting the storage ring into his storage ring, Ning Yu frowned and found a yellowish book on Zhang Jin's body. Heaven Opening 8 Desolation Palm. Seeing the words on the book, Ning Yu's heart skipped a beat. He couldn't conceal the ecstasy on his face. The Heaven Opening 8 Desolation Palm was a soul attack spell, and its rank was not low. If he could successfully cultivate the Heaven Opening 8 Desolation Palm, his strength would be greatly improved. Now is not the time to cultivate. I should return to Tianxian City as soon as possible. Suppressing the urge to cultivate the heaven-opening 8 desolation palm, Ningyu started to move, intending to return to Tianxian City. Russell, however, at this moment, he noticed Song Fei, who was trembling in fear. Ningyu, don't come any closer. Song Fei revealed a terrified expression when he saw Ningyu approaching him, and he hurriedly said, "Spare me. As long as you spare me, I'm willing to do anything." Is that true? Ningyu originally wanted to kill Song Fei with a single strike and end all troubles. But when he heard Song Fei's words, he frowned slightly and said, "Actually, it's not impossible for me to spare you, but you have to promise me one thing." Plop! Song Fei suddenly knelt on the ground and said, "As long as you spare me, let alone one thing. Even if you promise me 10 things, 100 things, I'll still be willing." All right, relax your mind. No matter what happens, as long as you don't have my permission, don't resist, Ningyu said indifferently. Hearing this, Song Fei was stunned. But in order to survive, he still did as he was told. Swoosh! In the next moment, a wisp of soul strength flew out of Ningyu's body and entered Song Fei's consciousness. As soon as the soul strength entered Song Fei's consciousness, Song Fei let out a terrified cry. The energy in his consciousness surged, trying to resist. At this moment, Ningyu's voice rang in his ears. "If you want to live, behave yourself." His eyes were filled with viciousness. Helplessly, Song Fei could only suppress the anger in his heart and behave. Actually, he had already guessed what Ningyu wanted to do. Ningyu wanted to inject soul strength into his consciousness and completely control his life and death. Originally, he was extremely unwilling, but the current situation did not allow him to have the slightest bit of resistance. Because he was very clear that if he dared to resist, Ningyu would definitely kill him. After I escape this, I will definitely find an expert to help me expel the soul strength from my consciousness. Song Fei secretly made up his mind. He would first pretend to be under Ningyu's command and then think of a way. Buzz buzz. Not long after, Ningyu injected soul strength into Song Fei's consciousness and hid in the depths of the cyclone. Unless the strength of his soul strength reached grade 6, it was impossible to remove the control on Song Fei's soul. "Song Fei, you better not play any tricks," Ningyu said in a deep voice. "You should be very clear that if I wanted to kill you now, it would be effortless." "Ningyu, no, young Master Ning, how would I dare to play tricks?" Song Fei said respectfully. Nodding his head, Ningyu asked, "Very good. I see that you are together with Zhang Jin. Have you already pledged allegiance to the Zhang family?" Thump! Hearing Ningyu's words, Song Fei knelt on the ground again and said in fear, "Young Master Ning, this is all because of that old man Zhang Jin. If I don't agree to him, he will kill me." Hee, don't be nervous. Chapter 116. Should I continue to rely on the Zhang family? Song Fei originally thought that Ningyu wanted him to leave the Zhang family. After hearing Ningyu's words, he was slightly stunned. However, he quickly patted his chest and said, "Young Master Ning, don't worry. I will definitely infiltrate the Zhang family and obtain information for you. Let me remind you one last time. Don't even think about removing the soul force I left in your knowledge sea. The consequences are not something you can bear." After glancing at Song Fei, Ningyu rose from the ground and disappeared in a flash. Song Fei clenched his fists tightly as he stared at Ningyu's disappearing figure. A vicious look appeared on his face. "Ningyu, I will pretend to be courteous to you for the time being. Once I remove the soul force from my knowledge sea, I will show you." Song Fei was not stupid. He knew that it was not wise to fall out with Ningyu now. Regardless of strength or the strength of soul force, Ningyu was much stronger than him. If he wanted to completely kill Ningyu, he still had to rely on the Zhang family. Thinking of this, Song Fei pushed off the ground with the tips of his toes and sprinted toward mysterious Tianxian City. Ningyu did not stop along the way. Instead, he rushed toward mysterious Tianxian City without stopping. Not long after, he entered mysterious Tianxian City. Could it be that the other three families have retreated? Seeing the unusually quiet, mysterious Tianxian city, Ningyu frowned slightly in doubt. This was because the current mysterious Tianxian city was frighteningly quiet. Not a single person could be seen on the streets. After hesitating for a moment, Ningyu sped up again and returned to the Ning family. The current Ning family was still in a state after a great battle. The walls were in ruins, and there was no time to repair them. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Just as Ningyu landed in front of the Ning family, a few figures rushed out from the Ning family. Ningyu, it's good that you're fine. It's good that you're fine. Ning Tang was very excited to see Ningyu. When Ningyu escaped, he wanted to help Ningyu, but Lin Jun attacked the Ning family crazily, so he had to stay behind to deal with the emergency. He had thought that Ningyu would definitely meet with misfortune. Who would have thought that Ningyu would return safely? How could he not be happy? First Elder, these people are? Ningyu's gaze shifted and paused on the few figures beside Ning Tang for a moment before he asked. Ningyu, let me introduce you. This is President Zhou of the Alchemy Union. Ning Tang pointed at an old man wearing an alchemist's robe. These people are from the Drunken Cloud Brothel. Ning Tang continued. The ones beside them are from the Snow Domain Pavilion. Please come in. Ningyu cupped his hands at the crowd and said, This is not the place to talk. In the meeting hall, everyone sat on two sides. Through Ning Tang's brief introduction, Ningyu learned that after he left, it was thanks to President Zhou, the Drunken Cloud Brothel, and the Snow Domain Pavilion that the other three families retreated. Otherwise, the remaining forces of the Ning family would not have been able to withstand the attack of the other three families. Ningyu thanks everyone here. If there's anything you need from me in the future, please don't hesitate to ask. As long as it's within my power, I will definitely not decline, Ningyu said in a low voice. This was a huge favor. If it wasn't for everyone's help, the Ning family would have been long gone. There's no need to say unnecessary words. This time, I helped the Ning family because of Elder Imo Zhou Tong said. Elder Imo and I have a deep friendship. Since he asked me to help the Ning family, how could I not help? If you really want to thank him, you could go to the capital and thank Elder Imo President Zhou. No matter what, it's all thanks to your help this time. Ningyu was not someone who didn't know how to repay kindness. He said in a low voice, I'll remember this favor. Fine. Since that's the case, I really do have something I need your help with. After thinking for a while, Zhou Tong said, After some time, the Alchemy Union will hold an alchemy conference in the capital. At that time, every branch will send out alchemists to participate. I hope you can represent Tianxian City's Alchemy Union to participate. President Zhou, don't worry. After solving the crisis of the Ning family, I will go with you to the capital, Ningyu said. Good. Zhou Tong's face lit up when he got Ningyu's confirmation. Ningyu's talent in alchemy was extremely high. As long as he represented Tianxian City's Alchemy Union, he might be able to get a very good ranking. Ningyu, we are following the orders of Missy. Helping the Ning family this time was entirely her idea. A late-stage Xiantian realm warrior from Drunken Cloud Brothel said. We are also following orders, a warrior from Snow Domain Pavilion said. Xiao Yinlan, Lu Wei, Ningyu said calmly. After solving the crisis of the Ning family, I promise to give each of you a high-grade soul solidifying pill. High-grade soul solidifying pill. Hearing Ningyu's words, everyone's faces lit up. Most of them were Xiantian realm warriors. Once they got their hands on a high-grade soul solidifying pill, they would have a great chance of advancing further. All right, everyone, go and rest for a while. I plan to launch an all-out attack on the Lin family tonight. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu said coldly. Ningyu, isn't it a little rash to launch an attack on the Lin family at this time? Should we wait for the patriarch to return? Ning Tang said worriedly. After a series of battles, the Ning family had suffered heavy losses. On paper, they were no match for the Lin family. If they were to clash with the Lin family at this critical juncture, the consequences would be unimaginable. Hit the snake where it hurts. Right now, the Lin family is at its weakest. Their morale is at its lowest. We could take advantage of this opportunity to launch a sneak attack. I believe they would not expect it. Ning Yu analyzed. As long as we let them rest for a while, it will be very difficult to catch them all in one fell swoop. Yes, Ning Yu is right. We are at your disposal, the leader of Drunken Cloud Brothel said. Us too. The middle stage, Xiantian Realm Warrior from Snow Domain Pavilion patted his chest. Originally, the order they received was to help the Ning family with all their might. Now that Ning Yu had promised to give each of them a superior grade solidifying pill, they were even more motivated. Ning Yu is right. After the death of the old ancestor and patriarch, the Zhao family and the Wangs will follow the lead of the Lin family. As long as we can defeat the Lin family, the Zhao family and the Wangs will collapse on their own, Zhou Tong said as he saw the situation clearly. When the time comes, Ningyu will deal with Lin Jun. As long as we can kill Lin Jun, the rest of the small fries will not be able to cause any trouble. Zhou Tong continued. Yes, leave Lin Jun to me. Nodding his head, Ningyu said, Everyone, go back and get ready. We will set off at midnight. Hearing Ningyu's words, Zhou Tong and the rest took their leave and went back to prepare. After everyone left, Ning Tang said, Ningyu, didn't you go to the frozen cave for the test? Why are you back so soon? Where are the rest of the Ning family members? Actually, Ning Tang had been wondering why Ningyu would return to the Ning family, and why his strength had increased so much, killing Lin Jingtian and the rest. He did not have time to ask before, but now he finally asked the question in his heart. Waving his hand, Ningyu said, I can't explain it in a short time. I will explain it to you when I have time. Chapter 117. The old head is recuperating. At the mention of Ning Tang looked a little gloomy and said, I'm afraid the situation is not optimistic. Ning He, who was half a step to the true martial realm, was fighting against Lin Jingtian, who was in the middle stage of the true martial realm. It was lucky that he was not killed. Take me there, Ningyu said after pondering for a while. Well, I hope you can control your emotions. With a sigh, Ning Tang got up and left the meeting hall. Creak. A secret chamber was pushed open, and Ning Tang stood in front of the door and said, Ningyu, go in and have a look. I'll arrange it. Attacking the Lin family at midnight was the most important thing. Whether the Ning family could gain a foothold in Tianxin City depended on this one move. Therefore, Ning Tang was very concerned about this matter. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu walked into the secret chamber. There was a big bed in the center of the secret chamber, and an old man was lying on it. Walking quickly to the bed, Ningyu looked gloomy as he looked at the old figure on the bed, because he found that Ninghe's breath was very weak, and he had a faint impulse to stop breathing. Ningyu's soul force slightly probed out and entered Ninghe's body to check. The more he checked, the worse Ningyu looked. In the end, he could not help but gasp. Ninghe's breath was very weak, his tendons and veins were almost completely broken, and his sea of consciousness was severely damaged. If not treated in time, the consequences would be unimaginable. In a light case, he would be paralyzed, and in a serious case, he would die directly. With my current strength, it is basically impossible to cure Grandpa. Frowning slightly, Ningyu murmured, I must find a way to get a 5th grade meridian repairing pill. Ningyu was very clear that with his current strength, he could only slightly repair Ninghe's sea of consciousness. As for the broken tendons and veins, he must take a 5th grade meridian repairing pill. Forget it. After I solve the Lin family, I will help Grandpa repair his sea of consciousness. Repairing the sea of consciousness was a very big project, and he could not be careless. A little carelessness would cause the sea of consciousness to explode. At this critical juncture, Ningyu did not dare to be careless. After taking another look at Ninghe, who was lying on the bed, Ningyu slowly withdrew from the secret chamber and went to his own room. After closing the door, Ningyu took out the black dragon sword and black dragon pouch that he obtained for Zhongjin. Soul imprint. Break for me. With a thought, Ningyu sent 2 wisps of soul force into the black dragon sword and the black dragon pouch, shattering the soul imprint left behind by Zhongjin. However, Ningyu did not leave a soul imprint on the 2 heaven-ranked magic treasures. Instead, he planned to auction them off when he reached the capital. After all, he already had the soul-breaking sword, a devouring flying sword. The Black Dragon sword and the Black Dragon pouch were not of much use to him. Not to mention, 2 heaven-rank magic treasures could be sold for at least 2 million high-grade origin crystals, and it was even to the extent that they could be auctioned off for an even higher price. Heaven opening desolation palm. Anyway, there were still a few hours before midnight. Ningyu could make use of this time to try to practice the Heaven Opening Desolation Palm. The Heaven Opening Desolation Palm was a soul attack skill. It was extremely powerful, and when practiced to the extreme, it could even be used to open the sky. The Heaven Opening Desolation Palm has a total of 8 palms. The first palm, Human Desolation Palm. Opening the book, Ningyu secretly memorized the handprint and mental cultivation method of the first palm and began to practice. Soul force gushed out from his body and gathered on his wrist. After that, Ningyu's wrist quickly formed a handprint and instantly blasted it out. Suddenly, a human palm print swept out and bombarded the void. Chi-chi! The air was shaken and scattered in all directions, bursting out with a sizzling sound. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu's face lit up. Human Desolation Palm was only the first palm of the Heaven Opening Desolation Palm. It was relatively easy to practice. In just a few minutes, he had already achieved initial success. By midnight, I can definitely practice the Human Desolation Palm to the advanced level. Without any hesitation, Ningyu once again wrapped his soul force around his wrist and began to practice the Human Desolation Palm. At the same time, in the Lin family. In a room, Lin Jun paced back and forth, his face extremely gloomy. He said coldly, "I didn't think that the Drunken Cloud Building, the Alchemist Union, and the Snow Pavilion would all come out to protect the Ning family. When Senior Wang Ku and Senior Zhao Peng return, we will launch another attack on the Ning family. This time, no matter what, we must eradicate the Ning family from Tianxian City. Lin family head, I am worried that something unexpected will happen." Beside him, a Zhao family late-stage Xiantian warrior frowned and said, "Even Senior Lin was killed. I am afraid, don't boost the morale of others and belittle our own." Before the warrior finished speaking, Lin Jun released his aura and said coldly, "Ningyu, that little bastard, must have consumed a lot of energy to kill my father. I don't believe that Senior Wang Ku and Senior Zhao Peng can't kill him. Moreover, I have received news that the Zhang family has already sent a true martial realm middle-stage warrior to Tianxian City. His goal is to kill Ningyu. The Zhang family's true martial realm middle-stage warrior is very strong. If he makes a move, even if Ningyu has 9 lives, it will be difficult for him to escape the fate of death. Now, all of you go back and prepare. Gather all the warriors in the Xiantian realm and above. When Senior Wang Ku and Senior Zhao Peng return, immediately launch a second attack on the Ning family." Lin Jun continued, "Family head, bad news. Family head, bad news." However, Lin Jun's words had just sounded when a voice was transmitted from outside the room. Creak! Then, a Xiantian middle-stage warrior broke the door and entered. "Oomph. If you have anything to say it slowly. What a disgrace." Lin Jun's face turned cold as he berated. "Family head, someone has launched a sneak attack on the Lin family." The Xiantian middle-stage warrior could not care less. He hurriedly said, "The one leading them is Ningyu. Someone has launched a sneak attack on the Lin family? Who dares to launch a sneak attack? What? Who do you think is the one leading them?" Frowning slightly, Lin Jun's expression changed drastically before he could finish his sentence. "Family head, the one leading them is Ningyu. He has already killed 2 of our Xiantian late-stage warriors," the Xiantian middle-stage warrior replied. "Ningyu is being pursued by the Zhao family's Wangs. Why would he appear in the Lin family now? Moreover, he was the one leading the attack on the Lin family. Could it be that Wang Ku and Zhao Peng had already died in battle?" Thinking of this, Lin Jun's heart sank to the bottom. Even his voice trembled a little. "Are you sure? The one leading them is really Ningyu, and not someone else from the Ning family? Family head, I'm not mistaken. The one leading them is indeed Ningyu. The Xiantian middle-stage warrior said anxiously. The Lin family is in a mess now. If you don't go out and take charge of the situation, the Lin family will soon be breached by the Ning family. No, I'm no match for Ningyu. I have to find that expert from the Zhang family. What a joke. Wang Ku and Zhao Peng, two true martial realm warriors, have been killed by Ningyu. How could a Xiantian full realm warrior like him, who had lost an arm? Therefore, Lin Zhun's first thought was to leave the Lin family as soon as possible and find that expert from the Zhang family. Only then could he kill Ningyu and ensure the safety of the Lin family. Crack. Chapter 118. The sudden change caused Lin Zhun's pupils to shrink. He could not help but take a few steps back until he reached the edge of the wall. Looking at the familiar figure that appeared at the door, Lin Zhun said in a deep voice, Ningyu, I was just about to look for you. I didn't expect you to deliver yourself to my doorstep. You've saved me a lot of effort. Oh, Lin Zhun, what business do you have with me? Shrugging his shoulders, Ningyu said indifferently, I'm standing here now. You can speak your mind. Humph. Ningyu, don't think that no one can deal with you. With a cold snort, Lin Zhun reprimanded. To tell you the truth, the capital Zhang family has already sent someone to Tianjin City. If you don't run away quickly, you will be killed by him. The expert sent by the capital's Zhang family to kill me. Is he called Zhang Jin? Ningyu said calmly. Zhang Jin? How do you know? Lin Zhun's heart trembled as he asked doubtfully. If I tell you that Zhang Jin has already been killed by me, how would you feel? Ningyu said with a smile. Impossible. Zhang Jin is a true martial realm martial artist. How could you possibly kill him? Lin Zhun's face was filled with disbelief as he said, Aren't you afraid of cutting your tongue when you talk big? Curling his lips, Ningyu said, It's up to you whether you believe me or not. However, your fate is going to be rather tragic. Overlord Fist. However, just as Ningyu's words fell, Lin Zhun rose from the ground, gathered a dense amount of origin energy on his wrist, and ruthlessly attacked Ningyu. Lin Zhun was very clear that in front of Ningyu, the chances of him escaping were extremely slim. Unless he could successfully launch a sneak attack and injure Ningyu, it was impossible for him to escape. Insignificant skill. Ningyu did not take Lin Zhun's fist to heart. Instead, he casually waved his palm and dispersed the Overlord's fist. Go! However, Lin Zhun didn't want to risk his life against Ningyu. After the attack, he stomped on the ground and rushed out of the room. At the same time, he shouted in a low voice, All warriors of the Lin family above the Xiantian stage, stop Ningyu for me. At this time, Lin Zhun couldn't care so much anymore. Escaping was the most important thing. Swish, swish, swish. After all, Lin Zhun was the head of the Lin family, a person with real power. His words were still very influential. As soon as he finished speaking, many Xiantian lords of the Lin family gathered in front of the door, blocking Ningyu's path. The Lin family is actually so powerful. Looking at the dozens of warriors in front of him, Ningyu's eyes narrowed. He was a little shocked. This was because the dozens of people blocking his way were all Xiantian lords. There were a total of 30 of them. Moreover, this was excluding the Xiantian lords who were fighting with the warriors of the Ning family. Conservatively speaking, the Lin family had at least 50 Xiantian lords. With so many Xiantian lords in the Lin family, it could be seen that the Zhao family and the Wangs also had many Xiantian lords. Adding up the three families, there should be 100 Xiantian lords. The Ning family only had a total of 10 Xiantian lords. The difference in strength between the two sides was huge. If not for the help of President Zhou and the rest, the Ning family would have long been razed to the ground. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu's wrists quickly formed a seal, and he sent out several palm prints. Heaven-opening palm of desolation. Human desolation palm. Against the Xiantian lords, Ningyu didn't use his full strength. Instead, he used the soul attack that he had just learned, Heaven-opening palm of desolation. Pist, 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 pist. Although the human desolation palm was not very strong, It was a soul attack palm print. Moreover, among the 30 warriors, the strongest was only at the advanced stage of the Xiantian Lord. Naturally, they couldn't withstand the impact of the human desolation palm on their souls. A series of crisp sounds rang out. Just as the 30 Xiantian lords were about to make a move, they were overwhelmed by the pain from the depths of their souls. They fell to the ground, unable to get up. Lin Jun, you won't be able to escape today, even if you have wings. After defeating the 30 Xiantian lords who were blocking his way, Ningyu instantly increased his speed. In the blink of an eye, he appeared behind Lin Jun. Then he sent out a punch, which brought along a gust of yuan qi, smashing towards Lin Jun's back. Not good. Lin Jun's complexion changed greatly when he felt the sharp wind coming from his back. He didn't have the time to think, and hurriedly gathered his essence on his left hand before turning around and colliding with Ningyu's fist. Kacha! In the next moment, the sound of bones breaking, accompanied by Lin Jun's pig-like scream, rang out in the sky above the Lin family. Ningyu, spare me. As long as you spare me, I can give you all the resources of the Lin family with both hands. On the brink of death, Lin Jun displayed a strong desire to live. He quickly said, I can also help you get the resources of the Zhao family and the Wangs. Furthermore, I can help you rule Tianxin City. From today onwards, the Ning family will be the overlord of Tianxin City. I'm not interested in ruling Tianxin City. Hearing Lin Jun's words, Ningyu stopped his attack and said calmly, As for the resources of the Lin family, I can get them all the same if I kill you. Therefore, it doesn't matter whether you stay or not. Ningyu, I'm still useful. I'm still useful. Lin Jun's expression changed drastically. He said fearfully, As long as you let me go, I can tell you a secret. A secret about your father. Tell me, Ningyu said. Lin Jun hesitated. You have to ensure my safety. Ningyu's face turned cold. You have no choice. If you don't speak, you will die. I'll tell you. 18 years ago, your father wreaked havoc in the magical Beast Mountain range and had a conflict with the four-eyed golden crystal beast in the Forbidden Land. Recalling the war 18 years ago, Lin Jun still had lingering fears. However, after that war, your father's cultivation dropped to the Hotian realm. After 18 years of cultivation, he finally advanced to the advanced stage of the Xiantian realm. Looking at Ningyu, Lin Jun continued, I'm guessing that your father has a grudge against the four-eyed golden crystal beast. That's all. Ningyu was taken aback. That's all, Lin Jun said. If that's all, then you could die now. As he spoke, the origin energy in Ningyu's sea of consciousness surged. Like a raging wave, it swept out and pressed down on Lin Jun. Ningyu, you're going back on your word. Lin Jun's face revealed a look of despair as he felt the monstrous yuan qi pressure. Haha, I never said that I would spare your life. With a faint smile, Ningyu said, Besides, I already know the secret you told me. It is of no use to me. Pucci. Although Lin Jun resisted with all his might, he was already heavily injured. How could he be a match for Ningyu? Before long, he was defeated. A gust of origin energy struck his chest. The enormous impact caused Lin Jun's body to retreat a couple of feet. Swoosh! Then, Ningyu rose from the ground, raised the absolute soul sword in his hand, and suddenly stabbed out. The absolute soul sword expanded continuously in Lin Jun's eyes. Finally, it stabbed into his chest. Chi! The sound of a flying sword stabbing into flesh rang out. Lin Jun's mouth was slightly agape, his face filled with confusion. Chapter 119. The family head is dead. Everyone run. Yes, let's leave the Lin family. The family head has been killed. If we stay, we won't have a good ending. Leave the Lin family and Tianxin City. We are all Xiantian stage martial artists. No forces will treat us badly. Ningyu is the Demon King. He kills without batting an eyelid. If we stay, we will be killed sooner or later. Seeing Lin Jun's death, the Lin family members who were resisting immediately retreated and gave up resisting. The Xiantian stage martial artists were the first to flee. Swoosh! Seeing the crowd of martial artists fleeing, Ning Yu's figure flashed, and he floated in midair. He said in a clear voice, "I have killed the Lin family's patriarch, Lin Jingtian, and the current family head, Lin Jin. I hereby announce that everyone in the Lin family will surrender and be spared. Everyone run. If you stay, you'll die. Let's split up and run. Even if Ning Yu has 8 legs, he won't be able to catch up. Let's run. We will die if we stay anyway." Oomph. With a cold snort, Ning Yu rose from the ground. With a flick of his wrist, he slashed out 3 times with the soul-severing sword. In the next instant, 3 rays of sword radiance flew out and headed towards the 3 Xiantian stage martial artists who were the first to escape. Puff, puff, puff. The speed of the sword radiance was extremely fast. Almost as soon as the 3 martial artists were escaping, they arrived beside them and slashed at their necks. In a split second, the heads of the 3 Xiantian stage martial artists were chopped off. They died on the spot. Whoosh! The miserable state of the 3 Xiantian stage martial artists caused the surrounding martial artists to stop in their tracks. They did not even dare to move. I will say it one last time. Those who surrender will be spared. Sweeping his gaze across the crowd of Xiantian stage martial artists, Ning Yu said in a low voice, "If anyone dares to escape, all of you will die." As he spoke, Ning Yu summoned all the Yuan Qi in his body and circulated it around his body. Feeling the dense Yuan Qi on Ning Yu, the crowd of martial artists turned pale. They did not dare to resist. Good, very good. Seeing that no one was running away, Ning Yu nodded his head and said calmly, "All the Xiantian martial artists who have pledged their allegiance to the Ning family, I will not let you suffer a loss. Each of you will receive a soul-solidifying pill." Voila! When the many cultivators, who were originally feeling dispirited, heard Ning Yu's words, they immediately perked up, revealing expressions of pleasant surprise. There wasn't a single Xiantian realm martial artist who didn't know about the soul-condensing pill. After all, the soul-condensing pill had a very high probability of allowing a Xiantian realm martial artist to advance a level. Don't celebrate too early. Before tomorrow morning, capture the Zhao family and the Wongs. Ning Yu poured a bucket of cold water on them and continued, "Similarly, those who surrender will not be killed, but the rest will be executed on the spot. After completing this mission, report to the Ning family. Great Elder, I've killed the patriarchs and patriarchs of the 3 clans. Now, they're a group of dragons without a leader. You should take this opportunity to subdue them." Descending from the sky, Ning Yu said to Ning Tang, "Those who resist, there is no need to keep them alive. Kill them." After thinking for a while, Ning Yu turned to Zhou Tong and said, "President Zhou, your strength is half a step into the true martial realm. I hope that you and the Great Elder can make a trip to the Zhao family and the Wongs." Slightly stunned, Zhou Tong asked doubtfully, "What are you going to do?" Ning Yu said, "I have something to do and will be away for a few days. During this time, I hope that you can take care of the Ning family. And don't worry, as long as there are no martial artists above the true martial realm, I can still protect the Ning family." Zhou Tong said, "If that's the case, thank you." After bowing to Zhou Tong, Ning Yu's figure flashed and he left the place. After Ning Yu left, Zhou Tong was stunned for a moment. Facing the dozens of Xiantian realm martial artists in the sky, he said, "Since you have agreed to serve the Ning family, don't play any tricks. Even if Ning Yu is willing to forgive you, I, Zhou Tong, will not let you off. Next, all of you will listen to Ning Tang's orders. Our next target, the Zhao family." Although Zhou Tong's words were not as effective as Ning Yu's, it was still a strong deterrent. After all, Zhou Tong was the president of the Alchemy Union, a 3rd great alchemist, and a half step into the true martial realm. If they offended Zhou Tong, they could forget about buying elixirs in Tianxian City in the future. When Ning Tang and the rest turned to attack the Zhao family, Ning had already quietly left Tianxian City and flew towards the east. This time, Ning Yu's destination was very clear, and that was Bright King City. If he wanted to cure Ning, he would need a grade 5 meridian repairing pill. Otherwise, it would be impossible to reconnect all the broken meridians in Ning He's body. In Tianxian City, forget about grade 5 elixirs. Even a peak grade 4 elixir was hard to buy. Without a grade 5 meridian repairing pill, Ningyu could only leave Tianxian City and rush towards Bright King City. Bright King City was located in the east of Tianxian City. It was much bigger than Tianxian City and was also the largest city around Tianxian City. In Bright King City, as long as you had crystals, you could even buy grade 6 elixirs. Ningyu pushed his speed to the limit. He did not dare to linger on the road as he sprinted towards Bright King City. This was because Ningyu's body could not drag on for much longer. Although Ningyu rushed at full speed, he still arrived at Bright King City the next morning. Suppressing his aura to the peak of the Hotian realm, Ningyu walked towards the city gates. Entrance fee, half a piece of low-grade crystal. Just as Ningyu arrived at the city gates, a berating voice entered his ears. Hearing this, Ningyu was stunned and somewhat puzzled. Entering Bright King City requires half a piece of low-grade crystal. The others did not pay, so why did they all enter? Ningyu realized that when the city gates were wide open, the other martial artists did not pay any entrance fee. Why do you have to pay? It's fine if you don't want to pay, but you must wait until night before you can enter. An initial stage Xiantian martial artist stood in front of Ningyu and said indifferently, "I don't have any low-grade crystals," Ningyu said. However, before Ningyu finished speaking, the initial stage Xiantian martial artist said impatiently, "If you don't have crystals, scram to the side. Enter Bright King City at night." "I'm not done yet." With a flick of his wrist, a high-grade crystal instantly appeared in his hand. Ningyu said, "I don't have any low-grade crystals. I only have high-grade crystals." Swoosh! Seeing the high-grade crystal in Ningyu's hand, the initial stage Xiantian martial artist's face lit up and he said greedily, "Give me the high-grade crystal, and you can enter Bright King City." I seem to have heard someone say that entering Bright King City only requires half a piece of low-grade crystal. Frowning slightly, Ningyu used a little force and broke off a fingernail-sized piece of high-grade crystal. He handed it to the initial stage Xiantian martial artist and said, "This should be enough for me to enter Bright King City, right? Kid, you're a little special. You must hand over a piece of high-grade crystal to enter Bright King City." The initial stage Xiantian martial artist licked his lips and laughed sinisterly. "Look, Li Nan is extorting people again. No one's going to step in." "Step in? Don't you know that Li Nan's father is Li Gang?" "Li Gang? Don't tell me he's one of the 4 big bullies of Bright King City." "That's right, it's him. Rumor has it that his cultivation has reached the consummate Xiantian realm, and Li Nan is his only son." Chapter 120. Ningyu's face turned gloomy. Wasn't this clearly bullying him? What if I don't pay this high-grade origin crystal? Ningyu asked indifferently as he waved the high-grade origin crystal in his hand. Brat. Today you must pay a piece of high-grade essence crystal." With a faint smile, Li Nan said coldly, "Regardless of whether you enter Bright King City or not, you must hand over this piece of high-grade yuan crystal." Ningyu's face darkened. He had entered the city to purchase the meridian cultivating elixir and did not want to cause trouble. Who would have thought that Li Nan would be so arrogant as to demand the crystal? It was just a crystal. It was not like he could not afford it. However, Li Nan was obviously bullying him. How could he tolerate it? Come and get it yourself if you can." Harumphing coldly, Ningyu flicked his wrist and placed the high-grade origin crystal into his robe. Then, he walked straight toward Bright King City. Seeing Ningyu's actions, Li Nan was slightly taken aback. But very quickly, he reacted and dashed forward, throwing a punch at Ningyu's head. Whoosh! Wherever the fist passed, a strong gust of wind howled, carrying with it a moderate amount of yuan energy. In the blink of an eye, it arrived in front of Ningyu. It's over. Li Nan is ruthless. Those who offend him usually suffer. That's right. Yesterday, he targeted an early-stage Xiantian realm warrior who wanted to enter the city without paying the crystal. He killed him with a single punch. That warrior was only at the peak of the acquired realm, right? Exactly. A warrior at the peak of the acquired realm couldn't even block one move from Li Nan. What? However, not long after, the crowd's jaws dropped. Their faces were filled with disbelief. They realized that Ningyu was still standing in the same spot, while Li Nan's body had been flung several feet away, landing heavily at the edge of the city gates. The sudden turn of events rendered the crowd speechless. They could not believe what they had just witnessed. Ningyu was only at the peak of the Hotian realm. How could he defeat Li Nan with a single move? Could it be that Li Nan was kind enough to let Ningyu attack first? Damn it! Damn it! Li Nan angrily stood up from the ground. His face was filled with malice as he angrily said, "Brat, you dare to offend me? Do you know who my father is?" "Your father? Could it be Li Gang?" Ningyu raised his eyebrows and asked casually, "Brat, you know who my father is, and you still dare to injure me. You're finished. No one in this world can save you," Li Nan said with a gloomy face. Hearing Li Nan's words, Ningyu was stunned, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. He didn't expect that Li Nan's father was really called Li Gang. However, Ningyu did not take it to heart. Instead, he said, "I don't care if your father is called Li Gang or Wang Gang. In short, I've already hit you today." "What can you do to me?" "All right, good. Brat, just you wait. If you have the guts, don't leave Far-Sighted City today." Although Li Nan was cruel and ruthless, that was under the premise that the other party was no match for him. If the other party was too strong, he would not fight head-on. Leaving behind a threat, Li Nan entered Far-Sighted City. "Hey, young hero, you should leave quickly. Li Nan's father is one of the 4 great tyrants of Far-Sighted City." "That's right. Young hero, you should leave quickly." Few cultivators who are targeted by Li Gang are able to escape from Far-Sighted City. The 4 great tyrants are incomparably cruel. They're the cancerous tumors of Far-Sighted City. After Li Nan left, the crowd hurriedly reminded Ningyu, hoping that he would leave as soon as possible. However, Ningyu had important matters to attend to in Far-Sighted City. Naturally, he would not leave. Cupping his fists at the crowd, Ningyu said, "I thank everyone here, but I have important matters to attend to in Far-Sighted City. Once I'm done, I will leave immediately." As he spoke, Ningyu walked towards Far-Sighted City. Looking at Ningyu's back, the surrounding cultivators let out a sigh. In their opinion, Ningyu would not be able to escape death. Actually, Ningyu was not afraid of any Li Gang or Wang Gang. He would deal with whatever came his way. Li Nan's matter could be delayed, but his grandfather Ning's injuries could not be delayed for even a moment. Therefore, after entering Far-Sighted City, Ningyu asked around for the biggest elixir store and rushed there without stopping. After passing through a few bustling streets, Ningyu finally stopped in front of a 3-story building. Royal Elixir Building. Royal Elixir Building was the biggest elixir store in Far-Sighted City. It was said that as long as one had crystals, they could even get a 7th-grade elixir. However, 7th-grade elixir could be sold for a sky-high price. Up until now, no one had heard of anyone being able to buy a 7th-grade elixir from Royal Elixir Building. "Dear customer, may I know what grade of elixir you require?" As soon as Ningyu entered Royal Elixir Building, a manservant came up to him and asked with a smile, "Our Royal Elixir Building has a wide variety of elixirs. I believe you will definitely be able to purchase the elixir you need here. Is there anything I need to pay attention to?" Ningyu asked without batting an eyelid. "Dear customer, of course there is. If you need 1st and 2nd-grade elixirs, you can buy them on the 1st floor." The manservant explained, "If you need 3rd and 4th-grade elixirs, you will have to enter the 2nd floor. If you need elixirs of 4th grade and above, you must enter the 3rd floor." "Oh, I understand." Nodding his head, Ningyu stretched out 5 fingers and walked towards the 3rd floor. "I need 5th-grade elixirs." "Dear customer, if you wish to enter the 3rd floor, you must have 50,000 high-grade crystals," the manservant hurriedly said. Hearing this, Ningyu was startled at first. Then he understood and slightly opened the storage ring to the manservant. 5th-grade elixirs. The cheapest one would cost tens of thousands of high-grade crystals. In order to ensure that everyone who entered the 3rd floor had the ability to purchase elixirs, It was understandable that Royal Elixir Building did this. Dear customer, please enter the third floor. I will go find Elder Who. Seeing the high-grade crystals flash by, the manservant hurriedly said. Shrugging his shoulders, Ningyu walked towards the third floor. Who is that? He can actually enter the third floor. The conditions to enter the third floor are extremely strict. You must carry at least 50,000 high-grade crystals with you. Could it be that the young man has 50,000 high-grade crystals? It's hard to say. Maybe he is the young master of some powerful force. Let's not talk about it here, in case we offend him. Yes, let's hurry up and buy the Gyuan pill, then go back and cultivate. Actually, Ningyu only showed the 100,000 high-grade crystals to the manservant. He didn't reveal all of them. He understood the principle of not showing off one's wealth. If it wasn't for the third floor's restriction, he definitely wouldn't have exposed himself. Dear customer, I heard that you want to buy 5th-grade elixirs? As soon as Ningyu stepped into the third floor, an old man walked over with a smile. I wonder what kind of 5th-grade elixirs you want to buy. Looking at the slightly empty third floor, Ningyu calmly said, Do you have elixirs to repair tendons and arteries? Chapter 121. Nodding, Ningyu said, That's right, I do need the meridian repairing pill. You come to the right place. Elder Who said, In Bright King City, if Dan King Tower doesn't have meridian repairing pellet, then other places definitely don't have it. Are there any high-grade meridian repairing pills? Ningyu asked. Upper meridian repairing pill? Elder Who was startled, then looked at Ningyu, slightly shocked. Dan King Tower does have high-grade meridian cultivating pellets, but they are extremely expensive. 200,000 high-grade essence crystals. Elder Who stretched out 2 fingers and said, As long as you have 200,000 high-grade origin crystals, I can transfer a high-grade meridian cultivation pill over within 2 days. 2 days? In other words, there are no more meridian repairing pills in the Pill King Tower? Frowning, Ningyu was a little disappointed. Ningyu's injury was very serious, and he urgently needed the meridian repairing elixir. 2 days was neither long nor short. He had thought that he would be able to obtain the meridian repairing pill as soon as possible in Bright King City. But who would have thought that he would have to wait another 2 days? Perhaps it was because he saw the disappointment on Ningyu's face. Old man Who hesitated for a moment and said, If you urgently need the meridian cultivation pill, I can help you purchase it from the black market, but you have to pay an extra 50,000 high-grade origin crystals. How long will it take? Ningyu had plenty of high-grade essence crystals. To him, as long as he could buy a high-grade meridian cultivating pill, spending any amount of high-grade essence crystals was worth it. 6 hours. 6 hours at most. I can help you buy a high-grade meridian cultivation pill from the black market. Elder Who said, It's even to the extent that I can help you get an extreme-grade meridian cultivation pill. As a deacon of the Pill King Tower, Elder Who had dealt with people from the black market many times over the years. It wasn't too difficult to purchase a high-grade meridian repairing pill from the black market through his connections. After pondering for a moment, Ningyu said in a deep voice, How about this? I'll go to the black market with you. No matter what the final transaction price is, I won't let you suffer a loss. This was Bright King City, not Tianxian City. Most people would be at a disadvantage if they went to the black market without a referral. It would be better to have an acquaintance to recommend him. All right, it just so happens that I'm free, so I'll accompany you. Mr. Who had already regarded Ningyu as the son of a big family. Such a person was not stingy with money. Almost all businessmen like to do business with this kind of person. Without staying for too long, Ningyu and Elder Who left Dan King Tower together. Look, isn't that Ningyu? Not far away, a cultivator pointed at Ningyu. It should be Ningyu. He looks exactly like the one in the portrait. The martial artist next to him opened a scroll and compared it with the two, then said with certainty, We will immediately inform young Master Nan. Tell him that Ningyu has left King Dan House. How about this? I will continue to follow Ningyu. You go inform young Master Nan. Another martial artist frowned. All right, I'll take my leave first. Tell young Master Nan that Ningyu is with Dan King Tower's Elder Who. Understood, elder who led Ningyu around Ming King's city, turning left and right, and finally stopped in front of a dilapidated door. Creak. Looking around, elder who pushed open the door and walked in. Without hesitation, Ningyu followed closely behind. 10 pieces of upper-grade yuan crystals each. Just as they entered the door, a tall and sturdy man greeted them and said expressionlessly, "Peak of Xiantian late stage." Feeling the vigorous yuan qi fluctuation of the sturdy man, Ningyu was secretly shocked, thinking that Ming King City was indeed not simple. He had been to the black market in Tianxin City, but the guards were only early-stage Xiantian, while the sturdy man in front of him was a late-stage Xiantian, or even close to Xiantian full realm. Ningyu knew that he needed to pay yuan crystals to enter the black market. Shaking his wrist, 20 pieces of upper-grade yuan crystals appeared in his hand, and he handed them to the sturdy man. Coming to the black market with elder who, Ningyu would definitely not let him pay yuan crystals. After paying the yuan crystals, Ningyu and elder who walked inside together. Elder who was obviously more familiar with this place, as he led Ningyu through several rooms, and finally stopped in a slightly spacious room. Entering the room, Ningyu found more than a dozen martial artists, whose cultivation ranged from early-stage Xiantian to full realm, and there was even an early-stage true martial realm martial artist. These martial artists had indifferent expressions, and seeing Ningyu and elder who come in, they did not even bat an eyelid. Ningyu was too lazy to pay attention to them, and found an empty chair to sit down and directly close his eyes to rest. Ha ha! About a quarter of an hour later, a middle-aged man strode into the room, and before he arrived, his voice could be heard. "I won't say much nonsense. Everyone knows the rules." The middle-aged man sat upright, and with a wave of his hand, he said, "Let's begin. Middle stage, true martial realm." Seeing the middle-aged man, Ningyu's eyes narrowed, and he was secretly shocked. Unexpectedly, the person in charge of the black market trade fair turned out to be a middle-stage, true martial realm cultivator. A small trade fair like this was actually very simple. Everyone took out their own treasures, and others could use yuan crystals or barter. In his previous life, Ningyu had also participated in many trade fairs, but they were all high-level trade fairs, and the lowest treasure was a peak 7th grade elixir. At this level of trade fair, to be able to take out a 6th grade elixir was already the limit. Earth's spiritual root, exchange for yellow grass skin, or 5,000 high-grade yuan crystals. A square-faced early-stage Xiantian martial artist flicked his wrist, and suddenly, something similar to a tree root appeared in his hand. Although the Earth's spiritual root is extremely precious, 5,000 high-grade yuan crystals is somewhat not worth it. Glancing at the Earth's spiritual root, Ningyu thought, 5,000 high-grade yuan crystals is too expensive. At this moment, a middle-stage Xiantian martial artist said in a deep voice, 3,000 high-grade yuan crystals, I'll buy it. After a slight hesitation, the square-faced martial artist said, deal. Immediately, the middle-stage Xiantian martial artist took out a storage bag and threw it to the square-faced man. After checking the storage bag, the square-faced man nodded and immediately handed the Earth's spiritual root to the middle-stage Xiantian martial artist. Subsequently, the other martial artists took out their treasures one after another, either bartering or exchanging yuan crystals. As for Elder Hu, he had been resting with his eyes closed, doing nothing. An hour later, seeing that the trade was about to end, Ningyu finally could not help but nudge Elder Hu and whispered, Elder Hu, the meridian repairing pill. Just as Ningyu was about to speak, Elder Hu waved his hand and said, wait a little longer. There's no hurry. Hearing this, Ningyu had no choice but to take a deep breath and wait quietly. Another hour passed, and there were only a few martial artists left in the room. 2 peak Xiantian martial artists, 1 true martial realm. Glancing at the remaining martial artists, Ningyu thought to himself, since the start of the trade fair, the 3 of them had been resting with their eyes closed and did not participate in the trade. When the crowd was almost gone, one of the middle-stage Xiantian martial artists said, Wu Tao, you know why we are here. Take out the meridian repairing pill. Haha, don't worry, I have a meridian repairing pill with me. With a slight smile, Wu Tao took out a jade box and said, "There are 2 meridian repairing pills in this box, 1 high grade and 1 supreme grade." Chapter 122, Supreme Grade Meridian Cultivating Dan. Ning Yu's heart skipped a beat. He couldn't help but clench his fists. He secretly made up his mind that no matter what, he must get the Supreme Grade Meridian Cultivating Dan. Because with the Supreme Grade Meridian Cultivating Dan, he had an 80% chance of curing his grandfather. Upper Grade Meridian Cultivating Dan, I bid 200,000 upper grade yuan crystals. Before the true martial realm martial artist could speak, a Xiantian peak martial artist next to him said first. 210,000. Another Xiantian peak martial artist said. 220,000. The first Xiantian peak martial artist didn't want to give up and continued to raise the price. 250,000. At this moment, Ning Yu said 250,000 upper grade yuan crystals. Although Ning Yu wanted the Supreme Grade Meridian Cultivating Dan, he didn't want to give up on it. After all, Wu Tao said that the Supreme Grade Meridian Cultivating Dan needed to be bartered. Upon hearing Ning Yu's words, not only did the 2 Xiantian consummate realm warriors cast their gazes at him, but even Wu Tao also shifted his gaze to him. A young man who could bid 250,000 upper grade yuan crystals without frowning was either a young master of a big family or a genius of a big sect. Looking at Elder, Wu Tao suddenly had a feeling of enlightenment. Elder, who was a deacon of Dan King Tower, and Ning Yu entered the black market with him. From this, it could be seen that Ning Yu was most likely a young master of Dan King Tower. Although he guessed that Ning Yu's status might be very high, Wu Tao still took a glance and withdrew his eyes. After all, Ning Yu was only at the peak of the Hotian realm. Asking him to lower his status and curry favor with Ning Yu, he couldn't do it. Damn it! One of the Xiantian peak martial artists cursed, fiercely stared at Ning Yu, and said in a deep voice, 260,000 upper grade yuan crystals. 270,000. Ning Yu continued. 280,000. Now, one of the 2 Xiantian peak martial artists had chosen to give up, leaving only one to compete with Ning Yu. After all, a high-grade meridian cultivating pill would only cost 200,000 high-grade origin crystals at the Pill King Tower. Although the superior grade meridian cultivation pill that Wu Tao took out was of high quality, 250,000 superior grade essence crystals was already the limit. Any higher and it would not be worth it. 300,000 high-grade essence crystals. Suddenly, the true martial realm early-stage martial artist coldly said, "This high-grade meridian cultivating Dan, Gao Shi will buy it." Hearing Gao Shi's words, Ning Yu's expression turned ugly. The black market trade fair was equivalent to a small auction, and the highest bidder would win. Now, Gao Shi actually dared to be so arrogant just because he had a profound cultivation base. However, Ning Yu did not speak immediately. Instead, he looked at Wu Tao with a questioning expression. With a bitter smile, Wu Tao felt a little helpless. Originally, according to this competitive trend, the high-grade meridian cultivating pill would very likely be sold for 400,000 high-grade origin crystals. Now, after Gao Shi's disturbance, the price stopped at 300,000 high-grade origin crystals. However, 300,000 high-grade essence crystals were already far higher than the price in Wu Tao's heart. He also did not want to offend Gao Shi. This was because Gao Shi was ranked 3rd among the 4 great tyrants of Bright Ruler City. Each of the 4 great tyrants was more vicious than the last. Offending any one of them was equivalent to offending the other 3. Even though Wu Tao was in the middle stage of the true martial realm, he still did not want to offend the 4 great tyrants. According to the rumors, the first of the 4 great tyrants had already reached the peak of the middle stage of the true martial realm, and was infinitely close to the late stage of the true martial realm. Seeing that Wu Tao did not respond, Ning Yu said in a deep voice, 310,000 high-grade origin crystals. Swoosh! In the next moment, Gao Shi's expression turned cold. His eyes stared at Ning Yu and said in an extremely gloomy tone, Brat, didn't you hear what I said? I'll buy this high-grade meridian cultivating Dan. Glancing at Gao Shi, Ningyu said without batting an eyelid, the highest bidder wins. As long as your price is higher than mine, I will give up the competition. Good, very good. How many years has it been since someone dared to talk to me like this? With the corner of his mouth raised, Gao Shi said in a cold voice, I can tell you very clearly that the last person who dared to talk to me like this had his head twisted off. That's none of my business. Shrugging, Ningyu said, 310,000 high-grade origin crystals. If you don't continue to increase the price, this high-grade meridian cultivating Dan is mine. You're courting death. With a cold expression, Gao Shi's figure flashed and appeared in front of Ningyu in an instant. Then his fist carried a violent origin chi gale and ruthlessly smashed towards Ningyu's chest. Gao Shi's punch was heavy and powerful. If Ningyu was unlucky enough to be hit, he would at least end up with serious injuries. Gao Shi, this is the black market. It's not a place for you to behave atrociously. With a cold shout, Wu Tao rose from the ground, intending to block the punch for Ningyu. After all, he believed that Ningyu's identity was special. He could not afford to have any problems in the black market. What? However, in the next moment, Wu Tao abruptly stopped in his tracks and looked at everything in front of him with a face full of disbelief. Gao Shi's fist abruptly stopped 30 centimeters in front of Ningyu's chest. It could not move forward at all. The sudden change caused the two Xiantian full-cycle martial artists and elder who to open their mouths slightly, almost standing on the spot in a daze. One must know that Gao Shi was a martial artist in the early stage of the true martial realm. His strength was extremely powerful, but now his fist actually stopped in front of Ningyu. What the hell was going on in this world? Little bastard, what kind of sorcery did you use? Staring at Ningyu with a vicious face, Gao Shi ruthlessly said, Your mouth is really cheap. It seems that I have to teach you a lesson. With a touch of coldness in his eyes, Ningyu moved in an instant and repeatedly punched Gao Shi's face. Pa pa pa. After a series of crisp sounds, Gao Shi covered his slightly swollen cheek and said, How dare you hit me? Releasing a little of the yuan in his sea of consciousness, Ningyu said indifferently, So what if I hit you? Is your father also called Li Gang? My father's name is not Li Gang, it's, you know, my fourth brother? Just as Gao Shi was about to speak, he was stunned and asked in disbelief, I don't know your fourth brother. Shaking his head, Ningyu did not want to waste time here. He said in a deep voice, 310,000 upper-grade yuan crystals. If you don't continue to increase the price, then this upper-grade meridian cultivation pill is mine. All right, Gao Shi, this is the black market, not a place for you to cause trouble. At this time, Wu Tao became the peacemaker and said, If you have any personal grudges, you can settle them after we leave the black market. Humph! With a cold snort, Gao Shi gloomily said to Ningyu, Brat, I'll let you live for a while longer. After we leave the black market, I'll deal with you. Regarding Gao Shi's threat, Ningyu did not take it to heart. Instead, with a shake of his wrist, a storage bag filled with 310,000 upper-grade yuan crystals was thrown at Wu Tao. After checking the yuan crystals in the storage bag, Wu Tao handed the upper-grade meridian cultivation pill to Ningyu. Chapter 123. Wu Tao, are you sure you only want a mid-earth rank magic treasure? Gao Shi's eyes brightened when he heard Wu Tao's words. A mid-earth rank magic treasure was worth around 2 to 300,000 upper-grade yuan crystals in the market. A peak meridian cultivation pill could be sold for at least 400,000 upper-grade yuan crystals. Who would be foolish enough to trade a peak meridian cultivation pill for a mid-earth rank magic treasure? Of course, I only want a mid-earth rank magic treasure. Nodding, Wu Tao said, Whoever can take out a mid-earth rank magic treasure that satisfies my friend will get the last peak meridian cultivation pill. With a flick of Gao Shi's wrist, a black flying sword appeared in his hand. He passed it to Wu Tao and said, This is the mid-earth rank black cloud sword. Show it to your friend. I believe he will be satisfied. Good sword. Receiving the black cloud sword, Wu Tao could not help but say, "It is indeed a good sword. If I'm not wrong, the quality of this flying sword is infinitely close to an upper earth rank." Hee, of course. Gao Shi raised his head and looked at Ningyu with slight disdain. "It's just an ordinary earth rank flying sword." Ningyu could not be bothered to waste words with Gao Shi and took out his trident. The trident was a mid-earth rank magic treasure. Its quality was also very high, almost reaching the upper earth rank. Even compared to the Black Cloud sword, it was not much weaker. "What kind of scrap metal is this? You have the nerve to take it out to embarrass yourself?" The corners of Gao Shi's mouth curled up as he said in a strange tone, "I have as many earth rank flying swords as I want. I can even take out a sky rank flying sword." A sky rank flying sword would cost at least 1,000,000 upper grade yuan crystals. Someone is really rich. Handing the trident to Wu Tao, Ningyu shrugged and said, "Looks like someone was going easy on me when we were fighting for the high-grade meridian cultivation pill. Thank you very much." You. Clenching his fists tightly, Gao Shi's expression was extremely cold. However, thinking of Ningyu's strength, he took a deep breath and said coldly, "I'll let you be cocky for a while. When we leave the black market, I'll teach you a lesson. I'll be waiting." Sitting on the chair, Ningyu chose to close his eyes and rest. When the other two perfection stage congenital realm martial artists saw Ningyu and Gao Shi take out mid-grade earth rank magic treasures, they pondered for a moment before choosing to give up. Actually, they were extremely helpless as well. It wasn't that they didn't have mid-grade earth rank magic treasures, but each of them only brought a single mid-grade earth rank magic treasure. Moreover, it was a magic treasure that was extremely convenient to use. They definitely wouldn't be willing to exchange this kind of magic treasure for a top-grade meridian cultivating pill. "Please wait here for a moment. I'll be right back." Wu Tao stood up and left the room. "Young Master Ning, you've gotten into trouble this time." After Wu Tao left, Old Hu lightly touched Ningyu and said in a low voice. Although the powerful strength Ningyu displayed shocked Old Hu, he was very clear that Gao Shi wasn't someone to be trifled with. After thinking for a moment, Old Hu felt that he had to remind Ningyu, there are a total of 4 big bullies in Bright King City, and Gao Shi is ranked 3rd. The 4 big bullies are each more ferocious than the other. The Li Gang you mentioned earlier is ranked 4th among the 4 big bullies, and his cultivation is at the perfection stage congenital realm. Regardless of whether we can get the top-grade meridian cultivating pill or not, when we leave the black market later, come with me. I'll try my best to protect you." Old Hu sighed and said, "What are the cultivation levels of the 2nd and 1st of the 4 big bullies?" Ningyu slightly frowned and asked. "The second one we call Old Xiao. He's at the middle stage of the true martial realm." Old Hu said, "As for the first one, it's Old Lady Iron Crutch. 3 years ago, she was at the peak of the middle stage of the true martial realm. Now, she should have advanced to the late stage of the true martial realm." Late stage of the true martial realm. Ningyu's heart trembled, and he secretly became cautious. The current him, under the situation where he used all his trump cards, was evenly matched with a martial artist at the middle stage of the true martial realm, and he could even kill them. However, when facing a martial artist at the late stage of the true martial realm, he could only run. That was because the difference between the middle stage of the true martial realm and the late stage of the true martial realm was huge. Even 10 martial artists at the middle stage of the true martial realm might not be a match for a martial artist at the late stage of the true martial realm. Looks like I have to raise my strength as soon as possible. Ningyu made up his mind. After treating Ning, he had to go into seclusion and strive to break through to the late stage of the Xiantian realm. Creak. Right at this moment, Wu Tao walked in. "I'm sorry, but my friend isn't too satisfied with your mid-tier earth rank artifacts." After entering, Wu Tao returned the Black Cloud sword and trident to Ningyu and the others. He shrugged and said helplessly, "I'm sorry, but you won't be able to get the top-grade meridian cultivating pill." "Wu Tao, who exactly is that friend of yours? Why is he putting on such airs?" Gao Shi was a little unhappy and said, "Even the Black Cloud sword can't enter his eyes. I'm not too sure about the reason." Shaking his head, Wu Tao said, "President Wu, I wonder if I can meet that friend of yours. Frowning slightly, Ningyu asked, the top-grade meridian cultivating pill is very important to me. As long as you can let me meet that friend of yours, I'll leave this trident to you. This, looking at the trident in Ningyu's hand, Wu Tao was a little hesitant. The grade of the trident was very high, almost reaching the high-tier earth rank. If it was placed in an auction house, it should be able to fetch a good price. Although Wu Tao was a martial artist at the middle stage of the true martial realm, he didn't have many high-tier yuan crystals on hand. If he could obtain the trident, it would naturally be extremely good for him. I'll try my best. As for whether he agrees or not, it's not something I can control. Clenching his teeth, Wu Tao broke the silence, because that friend of mine is a fifth-grade alchemist. Fifth-grade alchemist? Hearing Wu Tao's words, Gao Shi's face became a little solemn. To a fifth-grade alchemist, a mid-tier, earth-rank black cloud sword was indeed not enough to enter their eyes. Every fifth-grade alchemist was a powerful figure. Even in the capital, they would be guests of great forces. Moreover, many fifth-grade alchemists are not weak. Fifth-grade alchemist? Ningyu was stunned for a moment, but his heart immediately became wild with joy. If Wu Tao's friend was someone else, it would be difficult for him. But since it was an alchemist, it would naturally save him a lot of trouble. After thinking for a while, Ningyu inserted his soul force into his storage ring, took out a blank piece of paper, and said, President Wu, can I trouble you to pass this to your friend? Looking at the empty piece of paper, Wu Tao was a little confused and asked, Are you sure you want to pass this to my fifth-grade alchemist friend? Ningyu's right hand formed a strange hand seal in the air and said, President Wu, make this hand seal as well. I believe that your fifth-grade alchemist friend will come out to see me. All right. Remembering the hand seal, Wu Tao once again left the room. If that fifth-grade alchemist comes out to see you, I'll write my name backwards. Gao Shi coldly snorted. Chapter 124. Shrugging, Ningyu sat on a chair and closed his eyes. Seeing Ningyu ignore him, Gao Shi wished for nothing more than to rush forward and kill Ningyu. However, he knew very well that he couldn't fight Ningyu head-on at this critical juncture. No matter who won or lost, it would not benefit him. After all, this was the black market. Ningyu, do you dare to make a bet with me? Gao Shi rolled his eyes and suddenly said. Raising an eyebrow, Ningyu asked calmly, What kind of bet? What Ningyu feared the least was a bet. Ever since his rebirth, he had never lost a bet. Now that Gao Shi wanted a bet with him, how could he refuse? Simple, as long as the fifth realm alchemist does not come. I want the meridian repairing Dan you just bought. Gao Shi said confidently. What if the fifth realm alchemist comes? Ningyu asked. Slapping the black cloud sword on the table, Gao Shi said coldly. As long as the fifth realm alchemist comes, this black cloud sword is yours. How about it? Do you dare to bet with me? When luck comes, it cannot be stopped. Shrugging, Ningyu said calmly. Since you want to give me the black cloud sword, I have no reason not to accept it. Aren't you afraid that the wind will cut your tongue? Gao Shi smiled, as if the meridian repairing Dan was waving at him. Young Master Ning, fifth-tier alchemists have always been very arrogant. If you do this, I'm afraid. As a deacon of Dan King House, Old was very clear about the arrogance of fifth-tier alchemists. If there was nothing that could satisfy them, they would not personally come to meet others. Usually, it was others who humbly asked for a fifth-realm alchemist. Alchemists like Ning, you are very rare. Elder Hu, I know what I'm doing. Smiling, Ningyu said calmly. All right. Elder Hu sighed softly and said. At the same time, in another luxurious room, Wu Tao passed the paper to a white-bearded old man and said, Senior Mu Ta, the person who took out the trident wants to see you. This is what he wants me to give you. The white-bearded old man received the white paper and flipped through it a few times before casually tossing it away. He said in a low voice, Wu Tao, didn't I tell you? I'm not satisfied with the mid-grade earth-rank magic treasures they took out, so I won't meet anyone. They can forget about obtaining the top-grade meridian cultivation pill. Senior Mu Tuo, I've been rude. Please go ahead with your business. I'll take my leave. Wu Tao had already guessed this result, so he wasn't too surprised. He cupped his hands and was about to leave the room. However, as soon as he stepped out of the room, Wu Tao seemed to think of something. He turned around and said, "That's right, Senior Mu Tao. That person made a strange hand seal. Do you want to take a look?" "There's no need. You can leave first." Mu Tuo waved his hand and said, "All right." After bidding farewell to Mu Tuo, Wu Tao retraced his steps. Creak. Pushing open the door, Wu Tao returned to the room where Ning Yu and the others were. "I'm sorry, my fifth-tier alchemist friend is a little busy, so—" Wu Tao apologized to Ning Yu after entering the room. "Ha ha, kid, hand over the meridian cultivation pill." Hearing this, before Ning Yu could speak, Gao Shi burst into laughter and said, "I've said it before. Who do you think you are? How honorable is a fifth-tier alchemist? Why would he come out to meet you? This doesn't make sense. Could it be that the soul nourishing method I gave him is too advanced? A fifth-tier alchemist can't understand it?" Frowning deeply, Ning Yu found it hard to believe. Actually, on the white paper was the soul nourishing method he had inscribed using his soul energy. It was very effective in recovering one's weak soul after concocting a pill. Ordinary alchemists would experience a period of weakness after concocting a pill. With the soul nourishing method, the period of weakness could be greatly reduced. Logically speaking, as long as one was an alchemist, they would be very interested in this soul nourishing method. Ning Yu asked, "President Wu, I wonder if you have shown the handprint to your friend?" The handprint was the first form of the spiritual energy gathering handprint. Even if a fifth-tier alchemist couldn't understand the soul nourishing method, he should be able to understand the spiritual energy gathering handprint. This, Wu Tao was a little embarrassed. After all, he hadn't even shown the handprint before he was thrown out. "I understand now." Only now did Ning Yu understand. Since Wu Tao didn't show the handprint, it was obvious that the fifth-tier alchemist didn't probe the white paper with his soul energy. As for the soul nourishing method, he naturally didn't discover it. "Kid, you have to accept your loss. Hurry up and hand over the meridian cultivation pill." Gao Shi said coldly. "Umph. The meridian cultivation pill is yours." With a cold snort, Ning Yu raised his wrist, wanted to throw the meridian cultivation pill to Gao Shi. However, before he could throw the meridian cultivation pill to Gao Shi, Ning Yu put down his palm and kept the meridian cultivation pill. Seeing Ning Yu's action, Gao Shi was furious. He said angrily, "Kid, you won't go back on your words, will you? I advise you to hand over the meridian cultivation pill as soon as possible. Otherwise, even with Wu Tao's protection, I will kill you." "Ning Yu, you have to accept your loss." "I can't help you," Wu Tao said. "Young Master Ning, you have lost." Shaking his head, Elder Hu said. The corner of his mouth curled up into a mysterious smile. Ning Yu said, "Do you all think I have lost?" "Not necessarily." "Not necessarily? Kid, are you living in a dream?" Laughing evilly, Gao Shi said, "I will say it one last time. Hand over the meridian cultivation pill." Bang! Before Gao Shi could finish his sentence, the sound of a door being kicked open rang out in the room. Following that, a white-bearded elder quickly walked in. In his hand was a piece of white paper. "Wu Tao, who gave me this piece of paper?" Mu Tuo hurriedly asked after entering. Seeing Mu Tuo's anxious expression, Wu Tao was somewhat dumbfounded. Ever since he had known Mu Tuo, he had never seen him like this. "I was the one who asked President Wu to give it to you." Taking a step forward, Ning Yu said without batting an eyelid, "It's you." Looking at Ning Yu, Mu Tuo's eyes brightened. "Where's the second half? Quickly hand it over." Mu Tuo's tone made Ning Yu a little unhappy. However, when he thought of the fatal temptation of the method of nourishing one's soul to an alchemist, he suppressed the displeasure in his heart and said, "It's not impossible if you want the second half. Give me the meridian cultivation pill in exchange." As he spoke, Ning Yu's figure flashed. Before Mu Tuo could react, he had snatched the piece of paper. Moreover, a wisp of flame appeared on his finger. "You!" The sudden change caused Mu Tuo to turn pale with fright. He hurriedly took a step forward, intending to snatch the piece of paper back. However, he was obviously a step too late. The piece of paper had already been burnt to ashes by the dancing flame on Ningyu's fingertip. Seeing this, Mutuo's chest heaved unsteadily. He was extremely angry. Chapter 125. I've said it before, use a peak-grade meridian cultivation pill to exchange for the second half. Ningyu turned around and sat on a chair as he spoke calmly. Compared to the peak-grade meridian cultivation pill, Ningyu's method of nourishing the soul was much more valuable. If Ningyu announced it, many people would be willing to exchange the peak-grade meridian cultivation pill for the method of nourishing the soul. Moreover, Ningyu discovered that Mutuo was not an ordinary 5th-grade pill refiner. In other words, Mutuo's soul must have been severely injured. His current soul strength was only at the 4th-grade level. Therefore, Mutuo urgently needed the method of nourishing the soul. Good, very good. Mutuo's expression turned cold as he said in a low voice, I'm a 5th-grade pill refiner. Even a primal core realm martial artist has to be respectful when they see me. How dare you speak to me like this? Kid, you're finished. Do you know the power of a 5th-grade pill refiner? Gao sure snorted. I almost forgot if you didn't mention it. Thank you for your black cloud sword. Standing up abruptly, Ningyu's figure shot out and grasped the black cloud sword in his hand, a mid-grade earth-rank black cloud sword. Not bad. Kid, my black cloud sword. Ningyu's actions caused Gao Shi's expression to darken completely. He clenched his fists and said hatefully, if you know what's good for you, return the black cloud sword to me. Otherwise, I'll teach you a lesson. Shrugging, Ningyu placed the black cloud sword into his storage ring and said, I've always been a good-looking person. I don't need your help. Enough. At this moment, Mutuo's powerful soul pressure was unleashed as he said coldly to Ningyu, the peak-grade meridian cultivation pill is extremely valuable. Give me the complete method first, then I'll give you the peak-grade meridian cultivation pill. Hee, do you think I'm a 3-year-old? With a faint smile, Ningyu said, you should know very well how valuable the method of nourishing the soul is. You've earned a lot by exchanging a peak-grade meridian cultivation pill for it. I won't beat around the bush with you. Hand over the supreme-grade meridian cultivating pill, and I'll write you the complete method. As soon as Ningyu's words fell, Mutuo's expression became extremely cold. He suddenly unleashed all of his soul power, crazily suppressing Ningyu. Whoosh! The expressions of everyone in the room changed slightly when they sensed the spiritual pressure coming from Mutuo. They could not help but take a few steps back. Peak rank 4. Although Mutuo's soul had been severely damaged, he still possessed the strength of a peak rank 4. Oof. Ningyu didn't expect Mutuo to be so ungrateful, actually wanting to gain something for nothing. He wasn't even willing to take out a top-grade meridian cultivating pill. With a cold snort, Ningyu grasped the absolute soul sword and pointed it forward. Who? The soul-severing sword light slashed through the air, slashing towards Mutuo's soul pressure. Chi! A clear voice rang out, and then Mutuo's eyes narrowed. He hurriedly withdrew his soul force back into his body. Kid, who the hell are you? Taking a few steps back, Mutuo glared at Ningyu. Who I am isn't important. What's important is that I've changed my mind. The top-grade meridian cultivating pill can only be exchanged for the first half of the soul-nourishing method, Ningyu said indifferently. The absolute soul sword was a heaven-grade, devouring flying sword. It had a fatal suppressive effect on soul force. In addition, the strength of Ningyu's soul force was also at the 4th rank, while Mutuo's soul force was only at the peak of the 4th rank. It was only natural that the absolute soul sword cut through Mutuo's spiritual pressure. Originally, Ningyu had wanted to use the entire set of soul-nourishing methods to exchange for a top-grade meridian cultivating pill. Now that he saw Mutuo's arrogant side, he decided to change his mind and only use half of the method to exchange for a top-grade meridian cultivating pill. All right, I'll trade with you. After a moment of silence, Mutuo flicked his wrist, and a top-grade meridian cultivating pill appeared in his hand. This is a top-grade meridian cultivating pill. You have to let me see the soul-nourishing method first, right? You've already seen it. Ningyu did not want to talk nonsense with Mutua here. He stood up and walked out of the room. If you want to trade, give me the top-grade meridian cultivating pill. Otherwise, I can only say sorry. Here you go. Seeing that Ningyu was about to leave, Mutua gritted his teeth and threw the top-grade meridian cultivating pill to Ningyu. Receiving the top-grade meridian cultivating pill, Ningyu took out a piece of white paper from his storage ring and placed it on the table. Swoosh! Seeing the white paper, Mutua hurriedly took a step forward, and his soul force entered the white paper. Elder Hu, let's go. Since his goal had been achieved, there was no need for Ningyu to stay here. In the next moment, he left the black market with Elder Hu. Wu Tao, who the hell is that kid? After Ningyu and the others left, Mutua asked in a deep voice, do you know his background? Senior Mutua, based on my guess, he should be the son or daughter of the top management of the Royal Pill Tower. After a moment of silence, Wu Tao said what he was thinking. The old man who left with him is a deacon of the Royal Pill Tower. The Royal Pill Tower? Hearing this, Mutua was slightly taken aback. He then said, no wonder you can give me the method to nourish the soul. Senior Mutua, that brat Ningyu is so arrogant that he dares to disrespect you. If there's anything I can help you with, just say it. Gao Shi's eyes rolled, and he patted his chest. Gao Shi knew that Mutua must hate Ningyu very much right now, and even wanted to kill him. Since that was the case, he might as well do Mutua a favor and help him. After all, to be able to help a fifth-grade alchemist, it would be of great benefit to him. Moreover, he was going to contact Old Shio to kill Ningyu anyway. To be able to kill two birds with one stone was naturally a good thing. Raising his eyebrows, Mutua said calmly, actually, it's nothing much. I just want to let Ningyu know the meaning of respect. I understand. The corner of Gao Shi's mouth curled up, and he smiled evilly. After bidding farewell to Old Hu, Ningyu rushed out of Bright Ruler City. This time, Ningyu was very satisfied with his trip to Bright Ruler City. Initially, he thought that buying a high-grade meridian repairing pill was good enough. Who would have thought that he would get a supreme meridian repairing pill? The supreme meridian repairing pill was very effective in repairing tendons and veins. With the supreme meridian repairing pill, I believe that grandfather's tendons and veins will be completely healed. After leaving Bright Ruler City, Ningyu pushed off the ground and pushed his speed to the limit, rushing toward Tianxin City. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. However, not long after Ningyu left Bright Ruler City, a large number of cultivators appeared in front of him, blocking his way. Ha ha ha! Ningyu, you are very fast. If I had not been prepared, I'm afraid that you would have escaped. At this moment, a figure walked out from the crowd, laughing loudly. He stopped in front of Ningyu and said with a sinister smile, today, I will tear you to pieces with my own hands. Li Nan, looking at the familiar figure in front of him, Ningyu's face darkened, and he said, I have no time to waste with you here. If you know what's good for you, get out of here. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. You wanted to get out? You want to be rude to me? Chapter 126. Idiot. Glancing at Li Nan, Ningyu's figure flashed as he flew into the distance. Stop him. Seeing that Ningyu was about to leave, Li Nan shouted. Then the surrounding cultivators all made their moves. Since you are seeking death, don't blame me. A cold voice came from Ningyu's mouth. He suddenly took a step forward, causing sand and pebbles to fly and the hard ground to crack. Ningyu waved his sleeves, and an extremely violent yuan qi fluctuation shot up to the sky like thunder from the ninth heaven. Whoosh! In the next moment, the violent yuan qi suddenly exploded, turning into countless small yuan qi light balls, attacking the martial artists that were surrounding him. Qi, qi, qi. The surrounding martial artists were mostly at the early Xian Tian level. How could they withstand Ningyu's fierce attack? With a few swishing sounds, the martial artists surrounding Ningyu fell to the ground, their breathing weak. Overestimating yourself. With Ningyu's current strength, He did not need to use his full strength to deal with the early Xiantian level martial artists. He did not even need to use 10% of his strength to defeat them. Li Nan did not expect Ning Yu to be so strong that dozens of early Xiantian level martial artists could not do anything to him. Instead, they were defeated by him in one move. With this kind of strength, perhaps only the peak Xiantian level martial artists could contend with him. Damn it! Cursing in his heart, Li Nan's eyes darkened, and he said coldly, "Ning Yu, I admit that you are very strong. Just you wait and see." "Leave? Where do you want to go? Did I say you could leave?" Ning Yu said lightly with his fists cupped. Stopping, Li Nan said, "What do you want?" After thinking for a while, Ning Yu said, "You can leave, but leave your things behind." "Ning Yu, don't go too far," Li Nan said angrily. "You have two choices now. First, leave everything on you. Second," at this point, Ning Yu paused for a moment before coldly saying, "Die." As soon as the word "die" left his mouth, a monstrous aura emanated from Ning Yu's body and suppressed Li Nan in an instant. Thump! Feeling the pressure of such a powerful aura, Li Nan's legs felt like they were being crushed by thousands of kilograms of rocks, causing him to kneel on the ground with a thud. Clenching his teeth, Li Nan spat. "It won't be that easy to get what I have on me. You're still so stubborn even though you're about to die. Fine, I'll finish you off." Ning Yu took a step forward. With a flick of his wrist, an illusory fist projection appeared. Whoosh! Then, the illusory fist aura shot out and gradually expanded in Li Nan's eyes. "Brat, you dare to kill my son?" However, just as Li Nan was about to give up, a low roar sounded out. Then, the illusory fist aura seemed to be disturbed and actually stopped in front of Li Nan. The brief pause of the illusory fist caused Ning Yu to knit his brows slightly. After that, a cold smile appeared on the corners of his mouth as he looked at the man that was charging towards him. His right hand grabbed at the air, and instantly, a powerful ball of yuan qi appeared in his hand. Then, with a flick of his finger, it shot towards the man's face. "You're like a mantis trying to stop a chariot." With a cold roar, the man swung both his fists. Fist shadows flickered and countless rays of fist aura shot out, colliding with the violent yuan qi ball. Bang! When the flickering fist aura and the violent yuan qi collided, there was no shocking explosion, only a muffled sound. Bang! But very quickly, the man's body was hit by the first illusory fist aura from Ning Yu. He directly retreated a few feet, and his face was deathly pale. "There's a path to heaven, but you refuse to take it. There's no door to hell, but you barge in." After repelling Li Gang, Ning Yu's face turned cold, and he once again rose from the ground. Human Desolation Palm. With a flick of his wrist, a human-shaped palm was formed in an instant, and with a shocking speed, it violently blasted towards Li Gang. Poochie! In the next moment, the Human Desolation Palm bombarded Li Gang's body. The huge impact caused him to spit out a mouthful of dark red blood, and his aura became a little weak. The 8 Desolation Palm was a soul attack spell. Although the Human Desolation Palm was only the first palm, it was still very powerful. Moreover, Li Gang's cultivation was only at the Xiantian full circle, so naturally, he was not a match for Ning Yu. After repelling Li Gang, Ning Yu did not continue to attack. Instead, his eyes slightly narrowed, and he took a few steps back. With the soul-breaking sword in hand, Ning Yu stared into the distance and said in a deep voice, "Come out." Swish! Swish! As soon as Ning Yu's voice fell, 2 figures dashed over from afar, and not long after, they landed in front of Ning Yu. "Second brother, third brother, you're here?" Seeing the sudden appearance of the 2 figures, Li Gang's face lit up, and he hurriedly said, "Hurry up and help me kill that little bastard Ning Yu." Gao Shi. Looking at the 2 figures in front of him, Ning Yu's face became slightly dignified. He took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, "If I'm not wrong, the one next to me should be old Ghost Xiao." Gao Shi's cultivation was only at the early stage of the true martial realm, so it would be easy for Ning Yu to defeat him. However, old Ghost Xiao's strength was very strong, and he had already reached the peak of the middle stage of the true martial realm. Jia. I didn't expect someone to still remember my name. With a strange laugh, old Ghost Shio said, Boy, since you know my name, you should also know how ruthless I am. Hand over the meridian cultivating Dan and the magical weapon, and I can consider leaving your corpse intact. Second brother, why are you talking nonsense with him? With a sneer, Gao Shi said, Senior Mutuo said that as long as we bring Ningyu back, he promised to help us refine 2 grade 5 dawn. Mutuo, with a gloomy face, Ningyu's eyes flickered with purple flames. All right, I want to see what's so special about this Ningyu that a tier 5 alchemist would think so highly of him. The corner of old Ghost Shio's mouth curled up. His body moved, and he took the lead to charge at Ningyu. Facing old Ghost Shio's powerful attack, Ningyu did not dare to be negligent. The origin chi in his sea of knowledge gushed out and gathered in his palm, and then he punched out. Hoo-hoo! The fist whistled, and the palm wrapped in violent origin chi, as if it was wrapped in scorching heat, fiercely smashed toward old Ghost Shio's head. Sensing that Ningyu's fist was about to hit his head, old Ghost Shio's expression changed slightly. This attack had far exceeded the limit of a peak Hotian expert. In a hurry, old Ghost Shio hurriedly crossed his arms in front of his body, and his origin chi surged. Boom! The palm wrapped in origin chi heavily fell on old Ghost Shio's arms, and suddenly a muffled sound came out. Then, old Ghost Shio quickly retreated. After retreating a few steps, he was able to remove the force from his arms. Ningyu, you are not a Hodian realm martial artist. After stabilizing himself, old Ghost Shio stared at Ningyu and coldly said, The reason why old Ghost Shio did not know Ningyu's true strength was because Gao Shi did not tell him. He only told him that he had come to capture a young martial artist that a grade 5 alchemist wanted. Chapter 127. Middle Stage, Xiantian. Humph. Feeling the powerful aura emanating from Ningyu's body, old Ghost Shio's expression slightly changed. He coldly snorted and said, I don't care if you are the Xiantian stage or the Hotian stage. Meeting me today is your bad luck. Shio Demon Claw. Old Ghost Shio's feet touched the ground, and his body rushed forward. His right hand turned into a claw and quickly grabbed at Ningyu's head. Rustle. Above the claw, a slightly violent yuan chi constantly surged, giving people a feeling of extreme fear. Because this kind of yuan chi fluctuation had clearly reached the peak of the middle stage of the true martial realm. Suck. With a grave expression, Ningyu sucked in a breath of cold air and quickly formed a seal with his wrist. Netherworld Samsara Palm, Netherworld Fiend. With a light shout from Ningyu's mouth, a nearly solid palm print instantly rushed out, broke through the void, and collided with old Ghost Shio's sharp claw. Kacha! When the two collided, a crisp sound rang out. The solid palm print was instantly crushed and dissipated between heaven and earth. TSK. The Shio Demon Claw is a middle-grade Earth rank martial skill. When used to its peak, it can even contend with a high-grade Earth rank martial skill. With a sinister smile, old Ghost Shio's figure arrived beside Ningyu in the blink of an eye. His sharp claw fiercely stabbed at Ningyu's neck. Heaven Fiend Sword Wave. At this critical moment, Ningyu hurriedly took out the soul-breaking sword and slashed at old Ghost Shio's sharp claw. Damn it! The moment the soul-breaking sword was taken out, old Ghost Shio's expression slightly changed. He cursed and immediately retreated. The reason why old Ghost Shio retreated was because he discovered the abnormality of the soul-breaking sword. The aura fluctuation had clearly reached the level of a heaven-rank magic treasure. Even though his Shio Demon Claw was incomparably powerful, he didn't dare to fight against a heaven-rank flying sword. Teisho Kenpo. When old Ghost Shio retreated, Ningyu seized the opportunity. The essence chi in his sea of consciousness poured into the soul-breaking sword and slashed out again. The third style of the supreme 9-purity sword art, Teisho Kenpo, was extremely powerful. Although it was not enough to kill old Shio, it could force him to retreat. I'll let you see what a real middle-stage, true martial realm martial artist is like. Taking a deep breath, old Ghost Shio no longer dodged and madly poured out his primal chi. Soon, old Ghost Shio grasped the void with both hands, and all the origin chi in front of him was caught in his hands. Go! A deep voice came from old Ghost Shio's mouth as a berserk wave of origin energy shot out. Chi. In the next moment, the Yuan Chi wave and the Teisho Kenpo collided, and a monstrous shockwave spread in all directions. The powerful shockwave caused the low-level martial artists in the surroundings to tremble and find it hard to breathe. Old Ghost Shio is actually so powerful. Jumping to a giant tree, Ning Yu's face was gloomy, and his heart was faintly worried. Through that move just now, he had already judged that old Ghost Shio's strength was extremely powerful, comparable to Zhang Jin of the Zhang family. Ning Yu was very clear that the reason why he was able to kill Zhang Jin was because he caught him off guard and took advantage of Zhang Jin's carelessness to kill him. Once the other party was highly concentrated, he would not have the slightest chance. No, I must quickly evacuate from here. The current situation was very unfavorable for Ningyu. Even if he stayed for a moment longer, he would likely die here. Old Ghost Shio was only ranked second among the 4 bullies. If the first-ranked old woman came, he would not even have the chance to escape. Wind, thunder, fire. Thinking of this, the purple flames in Ning Yu's eyes flickered, and then 2 purple beams shot out from his eyes. With an extremely astonishing speed, they shot towards Gao Shi and Li Gang. Since it was difficult to contend with old Ghost Shio head-on, Ningyu took a step back and attacked the other 2 of the 4 bullies, Gao Shi and Li Gang. Second brother, save me. Seeing that the purple flames were about to reach him, Li Gang's pupils shrank, and he screamed as he retreated. As for Gao Shi, his eyes were solemn, and he did not dare to be negligent. The Yuan Qi in his body surged out, and he tried his best to resist the purple flames from Ningyu's eyes. Not good. The moment he saw the purple flames, old Ghost Shio's heart trembled, but he quickly reacted. He immediately gave up attacking Ningyu and turned to save Li Gang. If Ningyu could contend with him, then killing Li Gang, who was only at the peak of the innate realm, would be a piece of cake. Therefore, he had to help Li Gang. Good chance. The moment old Ghost Shio moved, Ningyu's eyes lit up. He immediately turned in the air and then quickly rushed towards Tianxin City. Teisho Kenpo. In order to prevent old Ghost Shio from catching up, Ningyu repeatedly slashed out several shocking sword lights, all of which bombarded Li Gang. Swoosh! Immediately, Yuan Qi quickly burned on Ningyu's feet, raising his speed to the extreme. Like lightning, he moved in the dense forest. I'm so angry. I'm so angry. Seeing Ningyu fly away, old Ghost Shio was so angry that his teeth itched, but there was nothing he could do. Because the Teisho Kenpo that Ningyu used at the end was extremely powerful. If he did not help Li Gang to resist it, Li Gang would definitely be killed. Swish, swish, swish. 3 breaths passed in the blink of an eye. In 3 breaths, old Ghost Shio completely destroyed the Teisho Kenpo that Ningyu used and saved Li Gang. However, Ningyu had already vanished without a trace. Second brother. Should we chase after him? Gao Shi's complexion was also very unsightly. He did not expect that 3 of the 4 great tyrants would not be able to catch Ningyu, yet he easily escaped. If this news were to spread, wouldn't the 4 great tyrants become a laughingstock in Wise Ruler City? No need. Ningyu is not simple. Since he ran away with all his strength, if we want to catch up with him, we will have to spend a lot of effort. Waving his hand, old Ghost Shio solemnly said, "Let's go back to Wise Ruler's City." Go back. Slightly startled, Gao Shi said, "Are we just going to let it go like this?" Humph. In my heart, Ningyu is already a dead man. Coldly snorting, old Ghost Shio said, "After we go back, use all our strength to investigate Ningyu. No matter what, we must find out everything about him within 3 days. In addition, I will use these 3 days to attack the late stage of true martial realm." Twisting his neck, old Ghost Shio gloomily said, "At that time, Even if Ningyu has 3 heads and 6 arms, he will not be able to escape from the palm of my hand. Second brother, you want to attack the late stage of true martial realm. Hearing old Ghost Shio's words, Li Gang's eyes lit up and happily said, Great, great. Fourth brother, your cultivation is only at the peak of Xiantian realm. Your strength is very weak. Waving his hand, old Ghost Shio continued, When we return to Wise Ruler City, I will find a way to help you get a true martial Dan. Cultivate well and strive to advance to the early stage of true martial realm within 3 days. Thank you, second brother. Li Gang quickly expressed his gratitude. All right, let's return to Wise Ruler City immediately. We can't waste a single second. With that, old Ghost Shio's figure flashed and rushed toward Wise Ruler City. Chapter 128. Swoosh. In front of the gate of Tianxin City, a figure flashed past, turning into an afterimage as it rushed towards the Ning family. After escaping from old Ghost Shio and the others, Ningyu hurried on without stopping and finally arrived at Tianxin City before dark. The other 3 families should have been dealt with. Looking at the quiet streets of Tianxin City, Ningyu nodded with satisfaction. When he left Tianxin City, he had already killed all the old ancestors and patriarchs of the 3 families. As for the remaining forces, it was not difficult to eradicate them with the strength of Zhou Tong and Ning Tang. In other words, at this time, everything in Tianxin City was under the control of the Ning family. Swoosh! With a flash, Ningyu landed in front of the Ning family's gate. Who is it? As soon as Ningyu's feet touched the ground, he was surrounded by 2 early-stage Xiantian warriors, one on the left and one on the right. One of the taller early-stage Xiantian warriors shouted, This is the Ning family's territory. Those who have no business here should leave quickly. Ha, not bad, not bad. With a slight smile, Ningyu's whole body revealed his aura. Swoosh! Swoosh! The moment Ningyu released his aura, 2 figures appeared in front of him at an astonishing speed. Chairman Zhou, Great Elder. Looking at the 2 familiar figures, Ningyu said, Ningyu, it's good that you're back. Go and see the old patriarch. Seeing Ningyu, Ning Tang said hurriedly, Go. With a change of expression, Ningyu did not hesitate and strode into the Ning family. Damn it! In the secret room, seeing the pale Ningyu clenched his fists and said in a deep voice, Chairman Zhou and Great Elder, please go out for a while. I'll give it a try. Originally, Ningyu thought that buying the meridian repairing pill could cure Ninghe, but now it seemed that he had thought too much. Ninghe's injuries had worsened. Not only were all the meridians in his body broken, but his aura was also extremely weak. Even the sea of consciousness, which cultivators valued the most, was shattered beyond recognition. The slightest impact could cause it to shatter. Sighing lightly, Ning Tang and Zhou Tong left the secret room together. In fact, during the time when Ningyu went to Bright King City, Ning Tang and the others had tried every means to save Ninghe, but the effect was minimal. In the end, Ning Tang and the others even sentenced Ninghe to death with no hope of recovery. Zhou Tong, tell me the truth. Is there any way to cure the old patriarch? Ning Tang asked outside the secret chamber. After pondering for a while, Zhou Tong frowned and said, Actually, it's not that there's no way. As long as we can buy the meridian repairing pill, Ninghe still has a glimmer of hope to recover. Hearing this, Ning Tang's face lit up with joy. Now that the Ning family was in control of Tianxin City, if they used their full power, they would be able to get their hands on the meridian cultivating pill very quickly. However, even if we can buy the meridian cultivating pill, the chances of Ninghe recovering are minimal. Before Ning Tang could be happy for long, Zhou Tong poured cold water on him and said in a deep voice, Repairing the meridians is also a huge project. Without soul force reaching the 4th grade, it's impossible to complete this project. 4th grade soul force. Ning Tang's heart trembled and his face turned gloomy. A person with a fourth-grade soul force was either a fourth-grade alchemist or a peak of the true martial realm, or an Yuan Dan realm martial artist. At this juncture, where could he find a fourth-grade alchemist or a peak of the true martial realm martial artist? That's right. Suddenly, Ning Tang's eyes lit up and said, Patriarch is very strong. As long as Patriarch returns, I believe he can definitely cure the old Patriarch. No, I have to find a way to buy the Meridian Cultivating Pill as soon as possible. As if he saw hope, Ning Tang hurriedly bid farewell to Zhou Tong and planned to use all his strength to buy the Meridian Cultivating Pill. 1 day's time, only 1 day's time. Looking at Ning Tang's back, Zhou Tong sighed and immediately walked towards the Alchemy Union. In order to help the Ning family, he hadn't returned to the Alchemy Union for a few days. There were still many big and small matters waiting for him to deal with. Now that Ningyu was back, with him holding the fort, he believed that some rascals would not dare to behave atrociously. Supreme Grade Meridian Cultivating Pill. Looking at the extremely weak Ning He on the bed, Ningyu flicked his wrist and took out the Supreme Grade Meridian Cultivating Pill. For Ning He's current physical condition, the high-grade Meridian Cultivating Pill was no longer of much use. So Ningyu planned to directly use the Supreme Grade Meridian Cultivating Pill. Slowly circulating the spirit transformation art, Ningyu adjusted his mental state to its peak, then placed the Supreme Grade Meridian Cultivating Pill into Ning He's mouth. The Meridian Cultivating Pill was a 5th-grade elixir. After swallowing it, there was no need to chew and it could be digested by itself. However, the speed of self-digestion was extremely slow, and it would take about a day for it to flow through the whole body. Go! One day, Ningyu could not wait any longer, and neither could Ning He. In the next moment, Ningyu's soul force surged and entered Ning He's body. The soul force, with the strength of 4th grade, guided the efficacy of the Supreme Grade Meridian Cultivating Pill to flow in Ning He's body. Every time he reached a broken tendon, Ningyu would leave a wisp of soul force to wrap the efficacy of the Supreme Grade Meridian Cultivating Pill and slowly repair Ning He's tendon. Because Ning He's tendon and meridian were seriously broken, after only 10 minutes, Ningyu had only separated 10 wisps of soul force, and he already felt a little powerless. A sense of weakness swept through his whole body. Swish! Gritting his teeth, Ningyu took out a few pieces of high-grade origin crystals from his storage ring. While replenishing his consumed origin energy, he carefully helped Ning He to repair his tendon and meridian. Damn it! If my soul force reached the strength of 5th grade, I could easily repair these damaged tendon and meridian. Cursing in his heart, Ningyu did not dare to neglect. While repairing Ning He's broken tendon and meridian, he also separated a few wisps of soul force to repair his damaged sea of consciousness. As a peak 9th grade alchemist in his previous life, Ningyu was very clear that the tendon and sea of consciousness must be repaired at the same time, otherwise there would be sequelae. Therefore, even though he was weak and exhausted, Ningyu still persisted. An hour later, Ningyu's forehead was covered with beads of sweat. His eyes were slightly closed, and his whole body was faintly tottering. Chi-chi. 2 hours later, Ningyu's eyes suddenly opened, and his face was filled with joy. The reason why he was happy was not that Ning He had been cured, but that the efficacy of the first wisp of soul force wrapped in the Meridian Cultivating Pill had been completely absorbed by Ning He's tendon and meridian. Ning He's broken tendon and meridian were also preliminarily connected. Come back. After preliminarily connecting the tendon and meridian, Ningyu's wisp of soul force was released and turned to help other soul forces. At this speed, it won't be long before grandfather's tendon and meridian can be completely repaired. Kacha. Taking out a few pieces of high-grade origin crystals again, Ningyu devoted himself to treating Ning He. The things in the outside world could no longer cause any interference to him. At this time, he had already entered a state where he forgot himself. Boom! Just as Ningyu was treating Ning He with all his strength, An earth-shattering loud sound came out from the forbidden area of the magical Beast Mountain range. Then, a figure galloped past and ran wildly out of the forbidden area. Chapter 129. The sun set and rose. In the blink of an eye, a night had passed. Creak. Early the next morning, the door of the secret chamber was slowly pushed open, and Ningyu came out. Phew! When the first ray of sunlight shone on his cheeks, Ningyu heaved a sigh of relief. His tense nerves finally eased a little. After a night of all-out treatment, Ningyu's injury had been under control. His broken tendons and meridians had all been repaired. Even his sea of consciousness, which was on the verge of collapse, had been saved by Ningyu. Such a huge project had made Ningyu so weak that he didn't even have much strength to walk. Goo-goo. The hunger from his stomach made Ningyu a little absent-minded. Ever since he was reborn, he had never felt so hungry. Ningyu, you're out? How is the situation of the elderly head? Just as Ningyu wanted to find something to eat, Ningtang came to him and asked, I have used the family's power to buy meridian-repairing pills in the surrounding cities. I believe it won't be long before I can buy meridian-repairing pills. Waving his hand, Ningyu said, No need. Call back all the members of the family who have been dispatched. My grandfather is fine now. Meridian-repairing pill was a 5th-grade medicinal pill. Even the lowest-grade meridian-repairing pill required tens of thousands of upper-grade essence crystals. With the current strength of the Ning family, it was really difficult to take out so many upper-grade essence crystals at once. Moreover, Ningyi's injury had been under control. He only needed to rest for a period of time to recover completely. There was no need to buy meridian-repairing pills. Even if he really needed meridian-repairing pills, Ningyu still had one upper-grade meridian-repairing pill left, which was enough. The elderly head is fine. Ningtang's eyes widened, and his face was full of disbelief. Ningtang was very clear about Ningyi's injury. All his tendons and meridians were broken, and his sea of consciousness was damaged. Such a serious injury was cured by Ningyu in one night? No one would believe it if it was spread out. When he saw Ningtang's expression, Ningyu shrugged and said, You can go take a look, but don't make any noise. By the way, send 50 sets of herbs needed to refine the solidifying pill to my room later. With that, Ningyu turned around and left. Ningyu had promised the people of Drunken Cloud House and Snow Domain Pavilion that as long as they helped to attack the Lin family, he would give each of them a high-grade soul condensing pill. With Ningyu's current level of alchemy, it wasn't too difficult to refine a few dozen superior-grade condensing essence pills. He wants to personally refine the soul condensing pill. Looking at Ningyu's back, Ningtang frowned slightly, feeling somewhat puzzled. The essence solidifying pill was a 3rd-grade elixir. Moreover, it was one of the best among 3rd-grade elixirs. Ningyu actually wanted to refine it himself? Didn't that mean that Ningyu's alchemy level had already reached the 3rd level? Thinking of this, Ningtang's face was full of disbelief. This secret mustn't be known by outsiders. Taking a deep breath, Ningtang didn't have the time to check on Ningyi's injuries. He hurriedly left the Ning family and rushed towards Snow Domain Pavilion. He wanted to personally buy the herbs. In this way, even if others suspected something, they would suspect him instead of Ningyu. Regarding Ningtang's actions, Ningyu didn't know. However, even if he knew, he would just laugh it off. If Ningtang knew that not only could he refine 3rd-grade elixirs, but he could also refine 4th-grade elixirs, it was unknown how Ningtang would feel. Leaving the secret chamber, Ningyu first looked for something to eat to fill his stomach before returning to his room. Swish! After returning to his room, Ningyu hurriedly took out several pieces of high-grade essence crystals, operated the transformation spiritual art, and began to absorb and refine them. Ningyu's current soul strength had reached the 4th grade, and his cultivation had reached the middle stage of the Xiantian realm. Originally, refining the essence condensing pill was a piece of cake. However, refining 50 furnaces of essence condensing pills at once, even Ningyu found a little difficult. After all, after a night's time, the essence chi in his sea of consciousness had almost been consumed, and there wasn't much left at this time. If he wanted to refine 50 furnaces of essence condensing pills, he must replenish the consumed essence chi as soon as possible. Kacha! Kacha! The third level of the transformation spiritual art allowed him to absorb essence chi at lightning speed. In just an hour, Ningyu had already completely replenished the essence chi in one cyclone. After replenishing one cyclone, Ningyu didn't rush to replenish the second cyclone. Instead, he got up and walked to the door. Squeak! Just as Ningyu arrived in front of the door, Ning Tang pushed the door open and walked in. Ningyu, these are the 50 sets of herbs needed to refine the essence condensing pill. Putting a small storage bag on the table, Ning Tang said, "You can rest assured. I have already issued a death order. Without your permission, no one is allowed to take half a step into this room." "Thank you, Grand Elder." Ningyu understood Ning Tang's good intentions and said solemnly, "This matter is not convenient to spread. I hope you can keep it a secret for me." Ning Tang's face was a little blank as he said, "What are you talking about? I'm just passing by. If there's nothing else, I'll be leaving first. The patriarch isn't here, and there are still many things waiting for me to deal with. Take care, Grand Elder." Bowing to Ning Tang, Ningyu closed the door. For safety's sake, he left a wisp of his soul force outside the room. Sure enough, there are 50 sets of herbs needed to refine the essence condensing pill. Probing the storage bag with his soul force, Ningyu first took out a set of herbs. Patting his storage ring, Ningyu threw the furnace above his head. Wind, thunder, fire. Focusing his eyes, the wind, thunder, and fire danced continuously on Ningyu's fingertips. Grabbing an entire set of herbs, he threw them all into the furnace. Then, the purple flame on his fingertips continued to expand, burning at the bottom of the furnace. Sizzle. As the purple flame burned, the temperature at the bottom of the furnace gradually increased. In the end, there was even a sizzling sound coming from the furnace. With the help of the wind, thunder, and fire, concocting the essence condensing pill is indeed very easy. About 15 minutes later, Ningyu patted the furnace. Instantly, the lid of the furnace opened, and a round medicinal pill flew out. "Huh!" Ningyu's eyes were sharp, and his hands were fast. He grabbed the medicinal pill and put it into the jade bottle that he had prepared earlier. High-rank essence condensing pill. Looking at the quality of the medicinal pill in the jade bottle, Ningyu nodded his head in satisfaction. With his level, he could definitely concoct a supreme rank essence condensing pill. However, he didn't do so. After all, these essence condensing pills were for the cultivators of the Snow Pavilion. It was already unbelievable that he could take out so many high-rank essence condensing pills at once. If he took out a supreme rank essence condensing pill, he believed that it would definitely cause a commotion. High-rank essence condensing pills were still okay. He could say that he bought them with money. As for supreme rank essence condensing pills, they were priceless. Even if he spent money, it would be very difficult to buy them. Go! The first batch of essence condensing pills was successfully concocted. With a flick of his wrist, Ningyu threw another set of herbs into the furnace and started to concoct the second batch of essence condensing pills. With the speed of concocting a batch of essence condensing pills in 15 minutes, 50 batches of essence condensing pills could be completely concocted in 10 hours. Although concocting essence condensing pills was very exhausting, it was also very helpful for cultivating the soul. Chapter 130. While Ningyu was refining the soul solidifying pill, the Ning family's meeting hall was extremely quiet. A middle-aged man sat at the head of the table. Below him, a group of experts from the Ning family stood on both sides. Sensing the powerful pressure emanating from the man at the head of the table, the experts from the Ning family did not even dare to breathe loudly as they sat quietly in their chairs. Cough, cough. The silence did not last long before it was broken by the middle-aged man at the head of the table. He coughed dryly and stood up. His gaze swept across the crowd as he said in a deep voice, "Originally, I wanted to deal with the other 3 families after I solved my own problems. I did not expect them to be the first to launch an attack, and deal a heavy blow to the Ning family. As the master of the Ning family, I did not step forward to tide over the difficulties with everyone during the family's most difficult time. I am not qualified to be the master of the Ning family. Retracting his aura, Ning Hai continued. Therefore, I have decided that from today onwards, I will abdicate the position of the master of the Ning family and give it to the great elder, Ning Tang. Ning Hai's words caused the meeting hall to once again become terrifyingly quiet. No one had expected that the first thing Ning Hai did upon his return would be to abdicate. This was completely out of their expectations. After all, the aura that Ning Hai had emitted earlier made their hearts palpitate. That aura had most likely reached the pinnacle of the true martial realm. Whoosh! A moment later, the crowd was in a heated discussion. Ning Tang's expression changed slightly as he hurriedly said, "Master, you must not. Although you did not return when the family was in danger, Ning, you single-handedly supported the Ning family and killed Lin Jingtian and the others." "That's right, Master. The reason why the Ning family was able to survive this disaster and control Tianxian City is all thanks to Ningyu. Master, you don't have to blame yourself. We all know that you had to leave Tianxian City because of something. The other three families were despicable and shameless. They took advantage of your absence to attack the Ning family. You couldn't do anything about it." Waving his hand, Ning Hai said, "You don't have to say any more. I've already made up my mind. I will not change it. Also, I will only stay in Tianxian City for 3 days this time. After 3 days, I will leave Tianxian City." Ning Hai continued, "Once I leave, I don't know when I can return. Therefore, the position of family head will be assumed by Ning Tang." "Who's not convinced?" "Patriarchs, I." Ning Tang opened his mouth slightly, wanting to say something, but he didn't say anything in the end. Of all the people present, perhaps only he knew Ning Hai's plan. He knew the most about the earth-shattering battle 18 years ago. Now that Ning Hai had made this decision, he should be happy for Ning Hai, but he couldn't feel happy at all. After all, Ning Hai was about to face an extremely huge force. "All right, all of you can leave. Ning Tang, stay behind," Ning Hai said indifferently as he sat on a chair. After everyone left, Ning Tang said hesitantly, "Patriarch, is it worth it for you to do this? I have waited for this moment for 18 years. As long as I have a clear conscience, there is nothing worth it." Taking a deep breath, Ning Hai said, "After I leave, the Ning family will be handed over to you. I don't expect you to lead the Ning family to glory, but I also don't want the Ning family to completely decline in your hands. Patriarch, don't worry. As long as I am here, the Ning family will not fall." Ning Tang patted his chest and guaranteed. "Tell me about what happened during this period of time," Ning Hai said. "Patriarch, not long after you left, the Lin family took the lead and launched a strong attack on the Ning family." Sorting out his thoughts, Ning Tang began to speak slowly. Very quickly, Ning Tang told Ning Hai everything that happened in the past few days from beginning to end. Phew! After listening to Ning Tang's redundant narration, Ning Hai let out a long sigh, his eyes flashing. "You mean is now refining the soul, solidifying pill?" Suppressing the joy in his heart, Ning Hai asked. "That's right. Ningyu asked me to buy 50 sets of medicinal materials needed to refine the soul condensing pill. You should be refining the soul condensing pill now." Ning Tang said, "Also, the old patriarch's injury was also cured by him. Regarding you refining the pill and curing the patriarch, keep it a secret. Don't let anyone know." With a gloomy face, Ning Hai said in a deep voice, "I will go see the patriarch now. After you is done refining the pill, let him see me in the secret chamber." In the next moment, Ning Hai moved his feet and instantly left the meeting hall. Swoosh! Seeing Ning Hai disappear, Ning Tang was stunned on the spot, because Ning Hai disappeared so quickly that he didn't even have time to react. In other words, if Ning Hai wanted to kill him, it would be effortless. Although my cultivation has just advanced to the late stage of the Xiantian realm, it will be difficult for a martial artist at the peak of the true martial realm to instantly disappear under my eyes, unless it is a martial artist at the Yuan Dan realm. Eyes burning, Ning Tang forcefully suppressed the excitement in his heart and turned to leave the meeting hall. Kacha! 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 In Ning Yu's room, as the high-grade Yuan crystals continued to shatter, soul-solidifying pills flew out one after another. 49th pill. 50th pill. Placing the last two soul-solidifying pills into the jade bottle, Ning Yu let out a long sigh and sat on the floor. Not bad at all. Although he was exhausted and the Yuan Qi in his sea of consciousness was depleted, Ning Yu didn't feel the slightest bit depressed. Instead, he was extremely excited. Come out! A wisp of soul force gushed out from his body and wrapped around his wrist. With a flip of his palm, Ning Yu blasted out a palm print. Wong wong. The palm print dissipated in the air, leaving behind a shockwave. My soul force has reached the middle stage of the 4th grade. Even the power of the netherworld's Samsara palm's 3rd palm, the Dark Fiend, has increased by 2 levels. Feeling the power of the Dark Fiend, Ning Yu was extremely satisfied. He originally thought that after increasing his soul force to the middle stage of the 4th grade, the power of the Dark Fiend would only increase by 1 level. Now, it seemed that it had completely exceeded his expectations. Let's replenish the Yuan Qi in my sea of consciousness first. Although he was extremely weak, Ning Yu didn't rest. Instead, he took out a high-grade Yuan crystal and began to absorb and refine it. With his soul force reaching the middle stage of the 4th grade, Ning Yu's speed of absorbing Yuan Qi had also increased a lot. In less than 3 hours, he had filled all 3 cyclones with Yuan Qi. As for the cyclones of wind, thunder, and fire, the moment the Yuan Qi entered, it would be devoured by the wind, thunder, and fire. It was like a bottomless pit that could never be filled. Forget it. Now that I've recovered to my peak condition, it's time to give the high-grade soul solidifying pills to the people from Snow Pavilion and Drunken Cloud House. Originally, Ning Yu wanted to try to break through to the late stage of the Xiantian realm. However, since he had already refined the high-grade soul solidifying pills, he might as well give them to the people from Snow Pavilion first. After all, when the Ning family was in danger, they chose to stand with the Ning family and help the Ning family. Naturally, Ning Yu wouldn't let them suffer a loss. Chapter 131. Not long after Ning Yu left the room, Ning Tang came to greet him. First Elder, I was just about to look for you. Seeing Ning Tang, Ning Yu took out a storage bag and said, There are high-grade solidifying pills in here. Please help me distribute them. Taking the storage bag, Ning Tang said, Leave this matter to me. You don't have to worry about it. Also, your father wants you to see him in the secret chamber. Is my father back? Hearing Ning Tang's words, Ning Yu frowned slightly and said, I'll go to the secret chamber now. Saying so, Ning Yu walked towards the secret chamber. Looking at Ning Yu's back, Ning Tang was a little confused because he felt something unusual about Ning Yu. Forget it, I'll just distribute the solidifying pills. Shaking his head, Ning Tang took the storage bag and left the Ning family. Creak! The heavy door to the secret chamber was slowly pushed open. After Ning Yu entered the secret chamber, he saw Ning Hai standing in the middle with his hands behind his back. This aura, feeling the strong aura from Ning Hai, Ning Yu's eyes narrowed and his heart couldn't help but tremble. I'm afraid it has already surpassed the true martial realm and reached the Yuan Dan realm, or even higher. Eyes filled with shock, Ning Yu said calmly, Father, may I know why you called me here? Good, very good. I didn't think you'd already reached the middle stage of the Xiantian realm. Not directly answering Ning Yu's question, Ning Hai nodded in satisfaction and asked, Which form of the Supreme 9 Purities sword art have you practiced to? Replying, Father, I've practiced to the 3rd form, Teisho Kenpo, Ning Yu replied. Ning Hai's heart skipped a beat as he said, Show it to me. Ning Hai was very clear about the difficulty of cultivating the Supreme 9 Purities sword technique. In the Supreme 9 Purities temple, except for a few freaks, Almost no one could cultivate the third form of the supreme 9 purities sword technique in such a short time. Moreover, Ningyu's cultivation was only at the middle stage of the Xiantian realm. Teisho Kenpo, Ningyu exerted a little force on his back leg and rose from the ground. At the same time, he waved the broken soul sword in his hand and stabbed out. Suddenly, a shocking sword light swept out and blasted towards Ninghai. Chi-chi. Ningyu did not hold back this time. On the contrary, he used all his strength. The friction between the sword aura and the air produced a sizzling sound. It really is the third form of the supreme 9 purities sword art, Teisho Kenpo. With a flash of shock in his eyes, Ninghai casually waved his hand and dispersed the sword aura. He then said in a deep voice, "The supreme 9 purities sword art. Each form is harder to cultivate than the previous one. You must not be arrogant and think that the later forms are easy to cultivate. To tell you the truth, even among the core disciples of the supreme 9 purities temple, only a few can successfully cultivate the fourth form of the supreme 9 purities sword art." In order to prevent Ningyu from becoming arrogant, Ninghai had to warn him. Before you advance to the true martial realm, you must not try to cultivate the fourth form. "Father, I will remember," Ningyu said. "Not bad." Nodding his head, Ninghai reached into his pocket and took out a palm-sized silver-white box. He handed it to Ningyu. Taking the silver-white box, Ningyu was slightly stunned. "Father, what is inside?" "Open it and you will know," Ninghai said lightly. Hearing this, Ningyu opened the silver-white box. Swoosh! As soon as the box was opened, a cold light flew out and attacked Ningyu's face. "Damn it!" Cursing, Ningyu's expression changed. He quickly waved the soul-severing sword and slashed. Swoosh! However, the cold light was extremely fast. Just as the sword aura was about to hit it, it suddenly disappeared before Ningyu's eyes. "Oof! Where do you think you are going?" With a cold snort, Ningyu released his soul power, trying to find the cold light. However, no matter how his soul power probed, he could not find the exact location of the cold light. This is the phantom armor of the Phantom Rat clan. Just then, Ninghai's figure flashed out. He quickly forced the cold light out and grabbed it in his hand. Waving the dark golden armor in his hand, Ninghai smiled and said, "I will give it to you now." Phantom armor. It is the phantom armor of the Phantom Rat clan. Seeing the dark golden armor in Ninghai's hand, Ningyu's eyes were filled with shock. So much so that his mouth was slightly open that 2 eggs could be stuffed inside. Ningyu understood the phantom armor very well. It could be said that he understood it to his bones. In his previous life, among the 9 Earth sovereigns that besieged him, there was one who wore the phantom armor and was extremely fast. Even though his cultivation was at the Sky Sovereign level, his speed was not as fast as that Earth sovereign who wore the phantom armor. However, the Phantom Sovereign was not from the Phantom Rat clan. It was said that the phantom armor he wore was obtained from the Phantom Rat clan. "I never thought that I would be lucky enough to obtain a phantom armor in this life." Taking a deep breath, Ningyu said calmly, "Father, is there anything special about this phantom armor?" Although he knew how precious the phantom armor was, Ningyu did not know much about the dark golden phantom armor in Ninghai's hand. That was because there were 2 types of phantom armors. One at a fixed grade, and the other could be upgraded. There was no need to talk about the fixed grade. As for the phantom armor that could be upgraded, it was the treasure of the Phantom Rat clan. In the entire Phantom Rat clan, there were only 3 of them. One was snatched by the Phantom Sovereign, one was with the Phantom Rat King, and the last one was most likely in Ninghai's hands. This phantom armor is only a mid-Earth rank armor. Ninghai explained, "It is an armor that can be upgraded. However, it is not easy to upgrade it. It requires a large amount of energy. Let me put it this way, 1,000,000 high-grade yuan crystals can upgrade it from the Earth rank middle grade to the Earth rank high grade." Holy shit! Although Ningyu was mentally prepared, he could not help but curse in his heart when he heard Ninghai's words. 1,000,000 high-grade yuan crystals could already buy a heaven rank low-grade artifact, but could only upgrade the Phantom armor from the Earth rank middle grade to the Earth rank high grade. One could imagine that upgrading the Phantom armor to the Earth rank top grade, or even the Heaven rank low grade, would require at least 10 million high-grade yuan crystals. The greater the effort, the greater the reward. Seeing the helplessness in Ning Yu's eyes, Ning Hai said, "I will leave Tianxian City in 3 days. Therefore, in these 3 days, I will do my best to help you refine the Phantom armor and make it a part of your body. In addition, you are only at the innate realm middle grade. The strength of your soul force is still not enough to reach the 4th grade middle grade." Shaking his head, Ning Hai said solemnly, "This time, when I leave Tianxian City, I ask for a barrel of intermittent cold jade fluid for you. When the time comes, you can lie in it and cultivate. As for how much medicinal energy you can absorb, it will depend on your luck." Intermittent cold jade fluid. Extremely shocked, Ningyu even had a feeling of being in trance. The intermittent cold jade fluid was a 6th grade medicinal fluid. Its medicinal effect was equivalent to a 6th grade elixir. Moreover, compared to ordinary 6th grade elixirs, the intermittent cold jade fluid was much easier to absorb and refine. It was the best medicinal fluid for cultivation. With the intermittent cold jade fluid, even a person with poor talent could advance from the innate realm middle grade to the late grade. Chapter 132. While Ningyu was still in a state of shock, Ning Hai took out a wooden barrel that was as tall as a person from his storage pouch. The barrel was filled with a light purple medicinal liquid. One could faintly see that the medicinal liquid was emitting a faint cold air. 1,000-year ebony. Seeing the barrel, Ningyu's first reaction was shock. His second reaction was even more shock. 1,000-year ebony was extremely valuable. Even though it was not as valuable as the intermittent cold jade fluid, it was not that far off. This was because 1,000-year ebony was the main ingredient in certain Tier 7 pills. Don't just stand there. This is the intermittent cold jade fluid. You can cultivate in it later. Ning Hai pointed at the barrel made of 1,000-year ebony and said, "Even though the intermittent cold jade fluid contains a lot of energy, it is unusually cold. If you can't take it anymore, you can come out." "Father, I will remember." When he came back to his senses, Ningyu took a step forward and jumped into the wooden barrel with a plop. "Enjoy it." Seeing how reckless Ningyu was, jumping into the barrel without any preparation, Ning Hai's mouth twitched uncontrollably. Then, he quickly left the secret chamber. After all, he would be leaving Tianxian City in 3 days. He had to get rid of all the uncertainties within these 3 days. Only then could he leave with peace of mind. Hiss! As soon as he jumped into the barrel, Ningyu felt a strong chill engulfing his entire body. The bone-chilling feeling on his skin made him suck in a breath of cold air. Moreover, there was a strong sense of oppression around him that made it hard for him to breathe. However, what made Ningyu feel relieved was that his entire body was filled with unbelievably pure energy. This energy was all rushing into his body, trying to force its way into his consciousness. The pressure is so strong. The barrel was as tall as a person. Even though Ning Yu's entire body was submerged in it, there was no problem at all. However, every centimeter he went down, the strong sense of oppression around him increased a little. "I have to sink to the bottom." With a cold glint in his eyes, Ning Yu clenched his teeth and unleashed his 4th grade soul force, enveloping his body and slowly sinking down. Thanks to the protection of a 4th grade soul force, Ning Yu's body soon sank to the bottom of the barrel. F*CK. Holy shit. When his body reached the bottom of the barrel, Ning Yu couldn't help but curse when he retracted his soul power, because the pressure at the bottom of the barrel had already reached a limit, and it even caused him to have the impulse to jump out of the barrel. However, as he sensed the rich energy around him, Ningyu held his breath and slowly circulated the spirit transformation technique. With the circulation of the spirit transformation technique, Ningyu gradually adapted to the super strong pressure at the bottom of the barrel. After Xiao Chun got used to the pressure, The pure energy contained in the intermittent frost jade fluid began to flow through his entire body and into his sea of consciousness. Buzz. After about an hour, Ningyu felt one of the cyclones loosen a little. Although the loosening was extremely weak, it was still detected by Ningyu's sharp senses. There's a chance. At this rate, I can advance to the late-stage Xiantian in less than a day. Ningyu was ecstatic. He once again exerted his strength and circulated the third level of the spirit transformation technique, absorbing the energy like crazy. Kacha. The third level of the spirit transformation technique absorbed the energy at lightning speed. With a crisp sound, the energy around Ningyu seemed to find a target and rushed into his sea of consciousness. With so much energy rushing into his sea of consciousness, Ningyu's 4 cyclones also expanded continuously. Kacha. 6 hours later, Ningyu seemed to hear 4 slight explosions in his sea of consciousness. The 4 cyclones seemed to be filled with air and expanded again. Late stage Xiantian. At this moment, Ningyu successfully broke through to the late stage Xiantian realm. The intermittent frost jade fluid is indeed extraordinary. I have only absorbed 1/5 of its energy, and I have already advanced to the late-stage Xiantian realm. After advancing to the late-stage Xiantian realm, the energy contained in each of Ningyu's cyclones was comparable to that of an early-stage true martial realm martial artist. As the cyclones expanded, the amount of energy they could contain increased, causing Ningyu to spend an entire day to fill them up. Moreover, he had only filled 3 cyclones. As for the cyclones of wind, thunder, and fire, they were still like a bottomless pit. The moment the energy entered, it would be swallowed by the wind, thunder, and fire. There's still so much pure energy left. If I absorb all of it, I can almost advance to the peak of the Xiantian realm. With a solemn expression, Ningyu began to ponder. According to the current situation, it wouldn't be difficult for him to advance to the peak of the Xiantian realm. However, he had an idea in his heart. He wanted to use the pure energy to split the cyclones. All of you go in. Without further ado, Ningyu hurriedly circulated the transformation spirit art, and the pure energy in the surroundings all entered his cyclone. Suppress. As the cyclones had already been filled up, along with the influx of pure energy, the cyclones showed signs of expanding. The expansion of the cyclones would allow Ningyu to advance to the peak of the Xiantian realm. However, this was obviously not what Ningyu wanted. In the next moment, he poured his soul force into his sea of consciousness and frantically suppressed the cyclones. Fortunately, Ningyu's soul force had already advanced to the mid-stage of 4th grade. Otherwise, he really wouldn't be able to suppress the impact of the expanding cyclones. Kacha! 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 After another day, along with 3 crisp sounds, Ningyu's face lit up with joy. At this moment, the 3 cyclones suddenly shattered and split into 6, adding the cyclones of wind, thunder, and fire. In other words, the number of cyclones in Ningyu's sea of consciousness had reached an astonishing 7. Of the 7 cyclones, excluding the cyclones of wind, thunder, and fire, the remaining 6 cyclones could contain the energy of the early stage true martial realm. After the cyclones were successfully divided, Ningyu spent some time to fill up the 6 cyclones. The energy in the intermittent cold jade fluid has almost been completely absorbed by me. There's not much left. Now it's time to refine the phantom armor. With a swoosh, Ningyu jumped out of the wooden barrel and took out the phantom armor from his storage ring. Xiao! He separated a wisp of soul force and quietly poured it into the phantom armor. Soul imprint. There was no soul imprint in the phantom armor. Therefore, Ningyu only spent a dozen minutes to engrave his soul force into the phantom armor. Chi! After that, Ningyu forced a drop of blood and dripped it on the phantom armor. Ningyu was very clear that for a top-notch magical equipment like the phantom armor, just engraving a soul imprint was not enough. He needed to refine it with a drop of blood and make it a part of his body. Only in this way could he display the advantage of the phantom armor speed. The advantage of the Phantom Mouse clan was speed. As the clan's most valuable treasure, the phantom armor's speed was needless to say. Chapter 133. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. Time flew, and in the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. Ning Hai sat at the head of the table, his eyes slowly swept across the crowd, finally stopping at the great elder of the Ning family, Ning Tang. Ning Hai said in a deep voice, "I will leave Tianxian City tomorrow morning. At that time, all matters of the Ning family will be handled by Ning Tang." Ning Hai said in a deep voice, "I will leave Tianxian City tomorrow morning. At that time, all matters of the Ning family will be handled by Ning Tang. I don't want any power struggles in the family while I am away. Ning Tang, do you have the confidence to be the head of the family?" Ning Hai asked. Ning Tang stood up and said hurriedly, "Head, don't worry, I have the confidence." Ning Tang's breathing was steady and not impetuous. The vigorous Yuan Qi in his sea of consciousness and the faint Yuan Qi halo around his body indicated that he had reached the Xiantian full cycle. If Ning Tang was still in the advanced stage of the Xiantian stage, he might not have the confidence to control the Ning family in Tianxian City. But now that he had advanced to the Xiantian full cycle, he absolutely had the confidence to control the Ning family in Tianxian City. Moreover, the most important thing was that Ning Hai had already resolved all the unstable factors in Tianxian City. Some of the rascals would not be able to escape the disaster. Under this premise, Ning Tang was even more confident. "Ning Tang, stay. The rest of you can go back," Ning Hai said lightly with a wave of his hand. Whoosh! The dozens of martial artists in the hall left the meeting hall in an orderly manner. "Family head, do you want to bring Ning Yu along when you leave this time?" Ning Tang asked doubtfully after everyone left. "I will go by myself. As for you, I plan to let him go to Danwu College to gain some experience," Ning Hai said, shaking his head. Ning Tang was slightly stunned, feeling a little incredulous. In his opinion, since Ning Hai had chosen to leave Tianxian City, it was natural to bring Ning Yu along. He did not expect Ning Hai to leave alone and choose to send Ning Yu to Danwu College. "Ed, isn't this a little?" Ning Tang said with a slight frown. However, before he could finish his words, Ning Hai interrupted him and said, "I've already made up my mind about you, You don't need to say anything more." Then, Ning Hai shook his wrist and a storage bag appeared in his hand. "There are some magic treasures and medicinal pills inside. Take them and use them to improve the cultivation bases of the younger generation." Handing the storage pouch to Ning Tang, Ning Hai continued, "If a clan wants to develop in the long run, it is necessary to have a top-notch fighting force, but the strength of the younger generation cannot be too weak." Patriarch Ning Xian and the others went to participate in the Icy Caves test and have yet to return. Taking the storage bag, Ning Tang looked at the astonishing number of pills inside and hurriedly put away. He hesitantly said, "I don't know what the current situation is. There are some problems with the Frost Cave assessment this time. They have already followed the elders of Danwu College to another Frost Cave to participate in the assessment." Ning Hai was not worried at all about Ning Xian and the others not returning. Instead, he said, "With Ning Xian and the others' strength, they will probably not be chosen to enter Danwu College. Before long, they will be sent back. There can be problems with the Frost Cave assessment." Hearing this, Ning Tang was a little stunned. After being in Tianxian City for so many years, he had never heard of any problems with the Frost Cave assessment. One must know that the Frost Cave was the assessment venue set up by Danwu College. Whoever dared to disrupt the assessment in the Frost Cave was going against Danwu College. In the Xia Kingdom, there were not many forces that dared to openly go against Danwu College. Creak! Just as Ning Tang was in a daze, the door to the meeting hall was pushed open. A slightly thin figure appeared in the hall. "Ning Yu, your cultivation?" Seeing the familiar figure suddenly appear in the hall, Ning Tang was first stunned. Then his face revealed a shocked expression. "I have already reached the late stage of the Xiantian realm." When he was in the middle stage of the Xiantian realm, Ning Yu could already contend with a middle stage true martial realm martial artist. Now that he had advanced to the late stage of the Xiantian realm, his strength could probably contend with a peak middle stage true martial realm martial artist, right? Late stage of the Xiantian realm? Compared to Ning Tang's shock, Ning Hai was much better. He frowned slightly, and a trace of soul force flew out from his body, quietly examining Ning Yu's body. Seeing this, Ning Yu's heart skipped a beat. He hurriedly hid the 6 cyclones in his sea of consciousness, leaving only one ordinary cyclone floating in his sea of consciousness. That's not right. A big tub of intermittent cold jade fluid only raised my cultivation from the middle stage Xiantian realm to the late stage Xiantian realm. Frowning, Ning Hai realized that Ning Yu's cultivation was only at the late stage Xiantian realm. Logically, the intermittent cold jade fluid should not only have such a small effect. Father, I feel that breaking through to the Xiantian realm full cycle in such a short time is not good for my future cultivation, so I suppress my cultivation to the late stage Xiantian realm. Seeing Ning Hai's doubt, Ning Yu explained, I have already kept the rest of the intermittent cold jade fluid. I plan to stabilize my cultivation at the late stage Xiantian realm before making a breakthrough. It's good that you have such an idea. Withdrawing his soul force, Ning Hai praised. Seeing Ning Hai withdrawing his soul force, Ning Yu heaved a sigh of relief, thinking that it was a close shave. If Ning Hai had used more soul force, he would definitely have discovered the cyclone that he had hidden. Although it would not be a big problem, it would still be troublesome to explain it. Oh yes, let me help you refine the phantom armor. Not caring about Ning Yu's cultivation, Ning Hai said, Father, the phantom armor has been refined by me. As he spoke, Ning Yu's soul force moved, and the phantom armor appeared on the surface of his skin. What? The phantom armor has been refined by you. Seeing this, Ning Hai was very shocked. He was very clear about the difficulty of refining the phantom armor. Without the help of a warrior with a strong soul force, refining it would be as difficult as ascending to heaven for a low-level warrior. After a short moment of shock, Ning Hai regained his calmness. A moment later, he returned to his seat and said, Seeing your current state, I can also leave Tianxian City with a peace of mind. Ning Tang, you heir, both of you can leave first. Let me be alone for a while. Waving his hand, Ning Hai said indifferently, Goodbye. Yes, father. Ning Tang and Ning Yu bid farewell to Ning Hai and slowly left the meeting hall. After leaving the meeting hall, Ning Yu and Ning Tang also parted ways. Ning Tang went to deal with the family's affairs, while Ning Yu went to the Alchemy Association without stopping. Because he had promised Zhou Tong that he would go to the capital to participate in the alchemy conference, he could use this time to discuss the details. Moreover, he could also take the alchemist test at the same time. After all, with the alchemist badge on him, no matter where he went, it would be good. Ning Yu had been to the Alchemy Association a few times and was already familiar with the place. After a short while, he arrived at the entrance. Young Master Ning. Chapter 134. After the familiar voice sounded, a middle-aged man quickly walked up and said respectfully, Why didn't you tell me in advance before you came so that I could go and greet you? Lu Shan, I have arms and legs. Do I need you to receive me? The middle-aged man was the second-tier alchemist, Lu Shan. Lu Shan's aura was restrained, and his soul energy had reached the intermediate stage of the second tier. He was no longer a pseudo-second-tier alchemist, but a second-tier, mid-tier alchemist. Young Master Ning, you must be joking. Please come in, Lu Shan hurriedly said. Lu Shan, is Chairman Zhou in? After entering the Alchemy Union, Ning Yu looked around and said, I'm here to look for him. Young Master Ning, if you came earlier, you might have been able to meet Chairman Zhou. But now, it might be a little difficult, Lu Shan said. Oh, what difficulty is there? Could it be that Chief Zhou is not in the Alchemist Association? Ning Yu raised his eyebrows and asked calmly. Chairman Zhou is in the Union, but it's not convenient for him to meet you now. After pondering for a moment, Lu Shan explained, just 10 minutes ago, President Zhou entered the alchemy room. I heard that Chairman Zhou is going to make a fourth-tier pill, the true martial pill. True martial pill. Hearing Lu Shan's words, Ningyu was a little surprised. 3 days ago, Zhou Tong was only a third-tier pinnacle alchemist. His soul energy was still at the third-tier level. With his alchemy skills back then, it was impossible for him to make a fourth-tier true martial pill. Could it be that in these 3 days, Zhou Tong had already become a fourth-tier alchemist? Yes, young Master Ning. If there's nothing urgent, please wait here for a while, Lu Shan said carefully, afraid that Ningyu would be unhappy. All right, I'll wait here for a while. Ningyu was not an unreasonable person. He found a chair and sat down. When Chairman Zhou comes out, let me know. I'll go see him. Young Master Ning, the number of people participating in the alchemy assessment has increased recently. I'll go get busy, Lu Shan said. Waving his hand, Ningyu said, it doesn't matter. You can go back to your work. After bidding farewell to Ningyu, Lu Shan walked into the alchemy union. As for Ningyu, he was sitting on a chair with his eyes closed. He was going through everything that had happened recently in his mind. Thankfully, he had the memories of his past life, which allowed his strength to grow by leaps and bounds. Otherwise, even 10 Ningyus would have been smashed into smithereens. Now, my cultivation is at the late stage of the Xiantian realm. My comprehensive strength is enough to contend with a martial artist at the peak of the true martial realm. If I encounter that old ghost Xiao again, even if I don't use my full strength, I can still kill him. On his way back from Mingwang City, Ningyu was being chased by 3 of the 4 big bullies. If he had not run fast enough, he would have been killed. This enmity must be avenged. Ningyu was a very simple person. If others respected him, he would respect them tenfold. If others wanted to kill him, then regrettably, no matter where they fled to, he would hunt them down. Hey, are you trying to act shamelessly? That's right. We painstakingly went to the magic Beast Mountain range to dig up the dragon's beard, and even lost the lives of 2 of our companions. Yet, you say that it is not dragon's beard? 1 dragon's beard is 10 high-grade yuan crystals. There are 1,000 of them in this storage bag, so a total of 10,000 high-grade yuan crystals. Call the person who issued the mission over. If he does not take out 10,000 high-grade yuan crystals today, he will have a good time. Just as Ningyu closed his eyes to rest, a few noisy voices rang in the lobby of the Alchemy Union and entered his ears. Opening his eyes, Ningyu looked around. In the lobby, 3 young men dressed in black stood in front of the counter and berated a young woman in her 20s. Surrounded by the 3 of them, the young woman almost cried out. She carefully said, "You guys, this is really not Dragon's Beard. The person who issued the task has already told me the identification method of Dragon's Beard. The Dragon's Beard that you took out turned black when you put it into the testing liquid, not red, which means clang." One of the men in black slammed his fist on the counter and said coldly, "What do you know? Call the person who issued the mission over. I want to see if he dares to act shamelessly today." Looking at the 3 men in black, Ningyu was somewhat shocked. There was no other reason. Although the 3 men in black tried to conceal their aura, they were still detected by Ningyu's keen perception. Each of their cultivation had reached the Xiantian full cycle. 3 Xiantian full cycle. Since when did Xiantian full cycle become so worthless in Tianxian City? Please wait a moment. I will go and call the Ning family over. Lan Shi hurriedly said, You don't need to go wait here." The leader of the men in black glanced at Lan Shi and said with an evil smile, "Let the others go. I still have something to tell you." You guys, Lan Shi was after all only a woman in her 20s. Facing such a sudden situation, she was at a loss for a moment. In the past, when Lan Shi was in the Alchemy Union, she had never encountered such a situation because there were very few people who dared to cause trouble in the Alchemy Union. Even if there were a few troublemakers, President Zhou would come forward to deal with them. Now that President Zhou was in seclusion to refine pills, she was suddenly at a loss. "Why don't you talk to me about it?" Originally, Ningyu did not intend to get involved in this matter, but after hearing Lan Shi's words, he had no choice but to get involved. Because the person who issued the mission was a member of the Ning family. Although dragon's beard was only a third-grade medicinal herb, it was extremely expensive and was the main ingredient in refining most third-grade medicinal pills. Now that the Ning family was in control of Tianxian City, it was understandable for them to issue similar missions. Young Master Ning. Hearing Ning use words, she seemed to have found her backbone and said happily, "Young Master Ning?" The leader of the men in black frowned slightly and said, "You are a member of the Ning family? Are you the one who issued this mission?" Without answering the man in black, Ningyu walked to the counter and picked up the so-called dragon's beard from the man in black to examine it. After a while, Ningyu threw the medicinal herb to the side and said indifferently, "What dragon's beard? It's just dog's tail grass." "What?" Ningyu's action made the man in black furious, and he said fiercely, "You dare to say that this is dog's tail grass? Who do you think you are?" "Big brother, why are you talking nonsense with him? We accepted." The short man in black at the side said, "Third brother." Before the short man could finish his words, he was interrupted by the man in black who said coldly, "We accepted the mission issued by the Alchemy Union this time. Don't talk nonsense." Frowning slightly, Ningyu seemed to have understood something from their conversation. The three of them were indeed not here for the Dragon's Beard mission. They should have another purpose. Chapter 135. Kid, since you're the one who issued the mission, don't waste your breath. Hurry up and hand over the 10,000 high-grade yuan crystals. We don't have time to waste with you here. The leader of the black-robed men glared fiercely at Ningyu and said, "This time, the three of us spent a lot of effort to dig up 1,000 dragon's beard grass. Therefore, you have to hand over the 10,000 high-grade yuan crystals no matter what. Otherwise, don't blame us for being rude." "Hee, you want to be rude to me?" The corners of Ningyu's lips curled up as he turned around and sat on a chair. He crossed his legs and said calmly, "I'd like to see how you plan to be rude to me." The three of them actually dared to offend Ningyu? Did they eat a bear's heart or a leopard's gall? Even Lin Jingtian died in the hands of Ningyu. Do they really think that they can defeat Ningyu? The news of Ningyu's powerful performance 3 days ago has already spread throughout Profound Sky City. Could it be that they've just arrived? I've never seen the three of them before. I'm afraid they've just arrived at Profound Sky City. Seeing the conflict between the three black-robed men and Ningyu, the cultivators from the Alchemy Union were slightly shocked. This was because the powerful battle strength that Ningyu had displayed 3 days ago had caused their hearts to tremble. Now, although the three black-robed men were powerful, they were still lacking compared to the patriarchs of the three great families. The whispers from the surroundings caused Chanda's face to turn solemn. The three of them were indeed not from Profound Sky City. Their main objective for coming to Profound Sky City was to kill Ningyu and complete the bounty. He did not expect the crowd to have such a high evaluation of Ningyu. However, sensing the Xiantian realm middle stage aura from Ningyu's body, Chanda's face turned cold, and he said coldly, "Kid, in the capital, there aren't many people who dare to speak to me like this." "Oh, I mean, there are still people who dare to talk to you like that." Shrugging his shoulders, Ningyu said, "If what you brought was really dragon's beard grass, I would naturally give you 10,000 pieces of origin crystals. But what you brought is dog's tail grass. I'm afraid you won't be able to get these 10,000 pieces of origin crystals." "Big brother, let me try his water." Next to him, Chun Air took a step forward. The aura of the consummate Xiantian realm was revealed, and it pressed down on Ningyu. In the face of such a fierce aura oppression, Ningyu acted as if nothing had happened. Not only was he not worried, but he also chatted with Lan Shi, who was next to him. "Damn it!" Chinair secretly cursed as he clenched his teeth. Just as the Yuan Qi within his sea of consciousness was about to gush out, he heard an anxious voice being emitted, after which he slightly withdrew his Yuan Qi. "Everyone, this is the Alchemy Union." Lu Shan was in charge of the alchemy assessment. Hearing that someone had a conflict with Ningyu, he hurriedly ran from the inner room to the lobby. When he came out, he saw 3 men in black surrounding Ningyu. He hurriedly said, "I'm afraid there's some misunderstanding between you and young Master Ning. It's better to make an enemy than to resolve it. If there's anything, we can sit down and have a good talk." "There's nothing to talk about. In short, hand over 10,000 pieces of origin crystals, and we 3 brothers will leave immediately." Chunda's attitude was firm, and he had no intention of giving in. 10,000 pieces of origin crystals, what a big appetite. Curling his lips, Ningyu teleported and snatched the storage bag from Chunda's hand. Then he poured out the 1,000 pieces of dog's tail grass. Crash! The 1,000 pieces of dog's tail grass fell on the ground. Instantly, the surroundings were filled with the strong smell of dog's tail. Dog's tail grass? Looking at the scattered medicinal herbs on the ground, Lu Shan was stunned. Then he quickly said, "Young Master Ning, dog's tail grass is a first-grade medicinal herb. It's cheap. Why? Damn, don't tell me they mistook the dog's tail grass for dragon's whiskers?" As the second-seat alchemist of the Alchemy Union, Lu Shan naturally knew the mission issued by the Ning family. 1 stalk of dragon's whiskers for 10 pieces of origin crystals. Now that he saw the dog's tail grass on the ground, he instantly understood. Shrugging, Ningyu declined to comment. "Young man, how dare you steal my storage bag in broad daylight?" Chunda did not expect Ningyu to be so fast. He was so fast that he did not even have time to react before his storage bag was snatched away. After a short moment of shock, Chunda said angrily, "If you don't hand over 10,000 pieces of origin crystals, don't blame us 3 brothers for being rude." Noisy, frowning slightly, Ningyu's face was a little cold. Swoosh! Just as Ningyu's voice fell, Chunda rose from the ground. His speed skyrocketed, and he instantly appeared in front of Ningyu. Then, a fist with violent origin chi violently smashed towards Ningyu's head. Seeking death, facing Chunda's fierce attack, Ningyu raised his right hand and grabbed Chunda's fist. Crack! His palm exerted a little force and directly broke Chunda's wrist. Ah! With his wrist broken, Chunda screamed like a pig being slaughtered. Then, beads of sweat the size of beans dripped continuously from his forehead. "Big brother." Chunda's pitiful state caused Chun Er and Chun San's expressions to change drastically. Both of their feet touched the ground, and they dashed towards Ningyu from both sides. Bang! Bang! However, before Chun Er and Chun San could reach Ningyu, they were hit in the chest by 2 solid palm prints. Their bodies flew out and heavily hit the door of the Alchemy Union. Poochie! Poochie! After spitting out 2 mouthfuls of blood, Chun Er and Chun San's breathing became slightly weak. At this time, Ningyu stood up and walked in front of Chunda. He said calmly, "Tell me, who ordered you to come here?" "Little brat, no one ordered us." At this point, Chunda had no choice but to admit defeat. It was his fault for not asking around and underestimating his opponent. "Looks like you won't shed a tear until you see the coffin." The corner of his mouth curled up. Then, Ningyu changed the topic and coldly said, "Since you dare to come here and cause trouble, you should know the consequences. Lu Shan, find a room. I want to personally interrogate the 3 of them." "Yes, young Master Ning." Lu Shan had already witnessed Ning use super strong fighting ability. Thus, he did not show any special reaction. Instead, he ordered his subordinates to bring Chunda and his 2 brothers to a quiet room. Ningyu stood up and entered the room. After Ningyu left, the Alchemy Union's lobby finally erupted with waves of exclamations. Ningyu is indeed powerful. Defeating the 3 of them was as easy as blowing off dust. Of course, in the previous innate realm ranking, Ningyu was ranked 1,000. After the battle 3 days ago, some people speculated that Ningyu would be ranked 100 in the next innate realm ranking. Almost. To be able to kill Lin Jingtian, who was in the middle stage of the true martial realm, he could even be ranked in the top 50. While the people in the lobby were busy discussing, there were only 4 people in a quiet room in the Alchemy Union. Ningyu sat on a chair and glanced at the 3 men in black on the floor. He said calmly, "I only have 3 questions. If you can answer them honestly, I promise not to kill you." Chapter 136. First question, why do you want to go against me? Ningyu asked directly. Without hesitation, Chunda said, we accepted an assassination mission in the black market. As long as we can kill you, we will be rewarded with 100,000 high-grade origin crystals. Someone issued an assassination mission? Frowning, Ningyu continued. Second question, who issued the assassination mission? Young Master Ning, we really don't know. Hearing this question, Chunda panicked and said, other than the upper echelons of the black market, no one knows who issued the mission. We were just passing by Tianxian City and accepted the assassination mission in the black market. As for who issued the mission, we don't know. Ningyu also had some understanding of the assassination missions issued in the black market. Chunda was not lying. Other than the upper echelons of the black market, even those who accepted the mission did not know who issued the mission. Since that was the case, Ningyu did not want to dwell on it. Instead, he asked the third question, do the three of you act alone? Act alone? Chunda was stunned for a moment. He did not understand what Ningyu meant. However, as a Xiantian full-cycle cultivator, his intelligence was not low. He reacted quickly. After coming back to his senses, Chunda said, the three of us act alone. We have not joined any factions. Good, very good. Nodding, Ningyu said, you don't need to go anywhere in the future. Just stay in Tianxian City. Ning. Young Master Ning, you must let us join the Ning family. Even though he had guessed what Ningyu was thinking, hearing Ningyu say it himself, Chunda still found it hard to accept. He even stuttered, young Master Ning, the three of us are used to acting alone. Now you have two choices. Interrupting Chunda's words, Ningyu said coldly, first, stay in Tianxian City. Second, die. The moment the word die fell, Ningyu released his aura. The origin energy in the two cyclones gushed out and suppressed Chunda and the rest. Chi. When such a powerful aura pressed down on Chunda and the rest, it immediately caused them to be unable to breathe, while their faces turned deathly pale. You have already reached the true martial realm. Chunda endured the strong pressure around him and said with difficulty, we promise you that we will stay in Tianxian City. Humph. For now, I'll feign civility and wait for an opportunity to escape. On the surface, he agreed to Ningyu's request. However, Chunda snorted coldly in his heart. What you did to the three of us today, we will make you pay back double. How could Ningyu not know what Chunda was thinking in his heart? However, he did not expose him. Instead, he said indifferently, even though you promised to stay in Profound Sky City, I don't really trust you. After pondering for a moment, Ningyu said, how about this? Relax your minds. No matter what happens later, don't resist. Relax my mind. Chunda's mouth was slightly agape. He did not know what Ningyu was planning to do. However, in order to survive, he could only do as he was told. Beside him, Chun Er and Chun San followed their elder brother and relaxed their minds. Xiao. In the next moment, 3 wisps of soul force shot out from Ningyu's body at an extremely fast speed. In an instant, they drilled into the minds of Chunda and the other 2 and hid in their consciousness seas. You actually placed your soul force in our consciousness seas. Feeling the additional wisps of soul force in their consciousness seas, Chunda exclaimed, you want to control our life and death. I am not interested in your life and death. Shrugging his shoulders, Ningyu said, as long as you stay in Tianxian City obediently for 1 or 2 years, I will naturally take back my soul force. In these 2 years, I will not restrict your actions, but I have a request. Staring sharply at Chunda and the others, Ningyu said in a deep voice, as long as the Ning family is in trouble, you must help them unconditionally. Ningyu was very clear that once Ninghai left Tianxian City and went to the capital, some Tom, Dick, and Harry would definitely jump out. Although the Ning family had completely controlled Tianxian City, they had also offended a lot of people. In case of an expert attacking the Ning family, Ning Tang and Ning, he would definitely not be able to resist them. At this time, if Chunda and the other 2 brothers helped the Ning family, the situation would definitely be reversed. After all, Chunda and the other two brothers were not weak. Each of them was at the peak of the innate realm. If they joined forces, they could compete with a martial artist at the early stage of the real martial realm. Of course, as long as you were obedient, 1 year later, I promised to give each of you a true martial elixir to help you advance to the real martial realm. Ningyu knew that Chunda and the others could only be subdued by a combination of carrot and stick. Is that true? Sure enough, as soon as Ningyu's voice fell, Chunda and the other two opened their eyes wide and exclaimed, "As long as you give us 3 true martial elixirs, let alone 2 years, even if it's 3 years, we are willing." Although the true martial elixir was only a 4th-grade elixir, it was no less precious than a 5th-grade elixir. Because the main ingredient needed to refine the true martial elixir was controlled by some aristocratic families, the price of the true martial elixir remained high, even more expensive than ordinary 5th-grade elixirs. Remember what you said. 1 year later, go to the capital to find me. At that time, I will naturally give each of you a true martial elixir. After saying that, Ningyu got up and left the room, leaving Chunda and the other two brothers, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Ningyu didn't care about Chunda and the other two at all. After coming out of the room, he directly went to find Lu Shan. "I'll go back first. When Chairman Zhou comes out, you could go to the Ning family to find me." Ningyu didn't want to stay here for too long and wanted to go back to the Ning family. Bang! However, as soon as he finished speaking, before he moved, a clear sound rang, and then a low curse came from the alchemy room. Damn it, just a little bit more." Then Zhou Tong walked out of the alchemy room with a gloomy face. You could vaguely hear him mumbling something. "Chairman Zhou, it seems like you ran into some problems while refining the true martial elixir." Ningyu stopped and said. Zhou Tong looked up at Ningyu and sighed. "Just a little bit more. If I wasn't too impatient at the last moment, I might have made the true martial elixir." "Chairman Zhou, I am also quite interested in the true martial elixir. Can I take a look at the leftovers from your pill?" Ningyu asked calmly. "You want to take a look?" Hearing this, Zhou Tong was startled at first. Then he said, "All right, it's in the alchemy room. Go take a look yourself. I need to rest for a bit. I will try to make the next batch of true martial elixir later. I don't believe I can't make it today." "Thank you, Chairman Zhou." After thanking Zhou Tong, Ningyu walked into the alchemy room. As for Zhou Tong, he went to another room to take a break and prepare to make the second batch of true martial elixir. The leftovers are a little black. Chapter 137. It's not that I was too impatient when I was forming the pill, but that there was a problem with the ingredients. The true martial pill had strict requirements for the ingredients. A slight mistake would lead to the final failure of the pill. Ningyu knew that if Zhou Tong followed the ingredients, it was basically impossible to refine the true martial pill. Blowing off the residue on his hand, Ningyu slowly left the alchemy room. Young Master Ning. Lu Shan had been guarding outside the alchemy room. When Ningyu came out, he quickly greeted him and said, "Please take a rest inside." "No need," Ningyu said. "I'll wait here. You can go back to work first." "Then please wait." After bidding farewell to Ningyu, Lu Shan went to preside over the alchemy exam. As for Ningyu, he stood at the door of the alchemy room, recalling the refining method of the true martial pill in his mind. Although Ningyu had refined the true martial pill in his previous life, ever since he became a 6th-grade alchemist, he had never refined the true martial pill again. And there were too many details to pay attention to in refining the true martial pill. Even with the memory of his previous life, Ningyu dared not say that he could successfully refine the true martial pill now. Now that his cultivation had reached the late stage of pre-celestial and was not far from the true martial realm, it was very necessary to prepare a true martial pill. Russell. Not long after, Zhou Tong came to the door of the alchemy room with a face full of joy. Seeing Zhou Tong, Ningyu was slightly startled and asked doubtfully, "Chairman Zhou, you've rested so quickly?" Refining the true martial pill consumed a lot of energy. Ningyu did not believe that Zhou Tong could adjust his mental state to the best in such a short time. If his mental state was poor, then the second batch of true martial pill was destined to fail. Ningyu, I've thought about it carefully. The reason why I failed to refine the true martial pill was completely because of a small problem. Zhou Tong was even a little excited as he said, I want to strike while the iron is hot and refine a second batch of true martial pills. After pondering for a while, Ningyu said, Chairman Zhou, I have a presumptuous request. When you are refining the true martial pellet, can I watch from the side? You want to observe? Slightly startled, Zhou Tong looked at Ningyu with some astonishment before nodding his head and saying, That's fine too. This time, you will be representing Xian Sky City's Alchemy Union at the capital to participate in the competition. I don't have much I can help you with, so I'll let you observe and learn some experience. In Zhou Tong's view, even though Ningyu's martial Dao strength was very strong, his alchemy standards were definitely not as high as his. Zhou Tong believed that Ningyu's alchemy level should be between peak second grade to third grade, or even some distance away from a third-grade alchemist. Thank you, Chairman Zhou. Ningyu cupped his fists. Hee, don't call me Chairman Zhou in the future. It sounds so distant. Just call me Elder Zhou. Zhou Tong laughed. Thank you, Elder Zhou. Ningyu once again said, Come in with me. When I am refining, try not to speak. As he spoke, Zhou Tong entered the alchemy room first, while Ningyu followed behind him. Closing the door, Zhou Tong took out all the medicinal ingredients he needed from his storage pouch. With a flick of his wrist, a small alchemy cauldron appeared in his hand. Zhou Tong was not in a hurry to refine the pellet. Instead, he sorted out the medicinal ingredients. Then, with a flick of his wrist, he tossed the small alchemy cauldron into the air. Hiss! Zhou Tong's right hand suddenly pointed forward. Instantly, a purple flame danced on his fingertip, continuously burning the bottom of the cauldron. Purple flame. Seeing the purple flame dancing on Zhou Tong's fingertip, Ningyu's expression turned serious, and he couldn't help but exclaim. Purple flame was a type of natural fire. Even though it couldn't compare to the wind thunder fire, it was still pretty good for refining pellets. Crackle. In the next moment, Zhou Tong orderly placed the medicinal ingredients into the cauldron. Then he controlled the heat, sometimes increasing it, sometimes decreasing it. As the medicinal ingredients continued to be added, the cauldron began to make crackling sounds. This kind of noise didn't affect Zhou Tong at all. He was completely immersed in refining the pellet, completely forgetting about everything around him. I've almost entered a state where I forget myself. This kind of state is extremely rare. Zhou Tong was basically in a very ethereal state right now. The success rate of refining pellets had at least doubled. In other words, the pellets that he normally couldn't successfully refine could very well be refined in this state. Soon, I wonder if Zhou Tong will be able to adjust the ratio of the musk flowers in this state. The reason why Zhou Tong failed to refine the true martial pellet last time was because there was a problem with the ratio of the musk flowers. If he failed again this time, it was very likely that all his previous efforts would go to waste, and he would once again fail to refine the true martial pellet. If he failed to refine the true martial pellet twice with full confidence, it would definitely be a huge blow to Zhou Tong. He might even be unable to recover from this setback. Let's wait and see. If the ratio is too different, I need to remind him. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu's expression was somewhat solemn. Actually, unless it was absolutely necessary, Ningyu didn't want to break Zhou Tong's ethereal state. After all, being able to enter this kind of state was of great help to raising his level of refining pellets. Swoosh! At this moment, Zhou Tong's left hand grabbed a few musk flowers and threw them towards the cauldron. 5 musk flowers. Too many. Seeing the musk flowers in Zhou Tong's hand, Ningyu's eyes narrowed, and he wanted to remind him. However, Zhou Tong's left hand stopped above the cauldron. After some thought, he threw away 2 of the musk flowers and threw the remaining 3 into the cauldron. Phew! Seeing this, Ningyu let out a long sigh and said, Good, 3 musk flowers. Although it's half an extra, as long as he can maintain the ethereal state, forming the pellet shouldn't be a problem. Zhou Tong's current state was extremely good. After throwing the musk flowers into the cauldron, he immediately increased the speed of refining. Crack, crack. The purple flame on his fingertips suddenly increased, and the cauldron also crackled from the heat. It should be almost done, Ningyu murmured. Zhou Tong's face was also full of excitement. Once he successfully refined the true martial pellet, it meant that he had successfully advanced to a 4th-level alchemist. Pucci. However, the moment the pellet was formed, Zhou Tong suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face turned deathly pale. Then, his vision darkened, and his body fell backwards. Not good. The sudden change caused Ningyu's expression to change greatly, and he hurriedly dashed out like an arrow and hugged Zhou Tong. At this critical moment, Zhou Tong actually came out of the ethereal state. Because he didn't control the switching between the two states well, he lost consciousness. Wind, thunder, fire. Placing Zhou Tong on the ground, the wind, thunder, fire in Ningyu's sea of consciousness surged out and supported the cauldron under the cauldron. Damn it, the extra half and extra petal from the musk flowers has a problem now. Ningyu couldn't help but curse. The wind, thunder, fire was of a higher level than the purple flame. His alchemy experience was richer than Zhou Tong's, and his soul force wasn't bad either. Originally, he thought that with a little help at the final stage of forming the pellet, he would successfully refine the true martial pellet. Chapter 138. I have to force the extra half petal out. After a short moment of panic, Ningyu regained his composure. The wind, thunder, and fire in his sea of consciousness poured out, burning crazily at the bottom of the cauldron. At the same time, Ningyu's mind moved, and the yuan qi in the 6 cyclones burst out, all gathering at the bottom of the cauldron. Sizzle. The sizzling sound of the yuan qi burning was heard in the cauldron. Ningyu didn't have time to enjoy the beautiful music. He displayed his 4th-grade soul power and paid close attention to the situation inside the cauldron. Ningyu knew that he was not in the ethereal state right now, so he had to be extremely careful. He could not make the slightest mistake, or else this cauldron of true martial Dan would not be successful. Hiss! As time went on, the extra half petal in the cauldron gradually moved from the bottom of the cauldron to the top. Come out! With a low growl, Ningyu patted the cauldron, and suddenly a drop of black liquid flew out. Boom! Ningyu flicked his finger, and a wave of yuan qi rushed out, dispersing the black liquid. Done! In the next second, Ningyu threw the cauldron into the air, and then controlled the lid with his soul power. Then, a slightly black, round Dan flew out from the cauldron. Huh! The moment he saw the Dan, Ningyu's eyes focused, and he grabbed it in his hand. It's a high-grade, true martial Dan. Looking at the Dan in his hand, Ningyu was a little shocked and felt that it was unbelievable. Originally, Ningyu thought that even if he could make a true martial Dan, it would most likely be a low-grade true martial Dan. After all, he was in danger, and he was not in the ethereal state. Who would have thought that he would make a high-grade true martial Dan? After a short moment of shock, Ningyu looked at Zhou Tong, who was still unconscious, and mumbled, Chairman Zhou should be waking up soon. After some thought, Ningyu put the true martial Dan in the cauldron, and then pretended to be unconscious. Ouch! About a quarter of an hour later, Zhou Tong opened his eyes and rubbed his slightly aching head. I remember I fell asleep the moment the true martial Dan was formed. That's right, true martial Dan. Just as he opened his eyes, before Zhou Tong could think too much, his expression changed greatly. He hurriedly stood up from the ground and grabbed the pill furnace in his hand. Top grade true martial Dan. Opening the lid and seeing the black pill lying inside, Zhou Tong's jaw dropped. The shock on his face was no less than Ningyu's. Did I refine a high-grade, true martial Dan? He tried his best to recall what had happened before he fainted, but regrettably, Zhou Tong only remembered that he had fainted when he was about to form the pill. He had no idea what had happened after that. Right, Ningyu! Seeing Ningyu lying on the ground, Zhou Tong hurriedly woke him up. Elder Zhou, why am I sleeping here? Waking up from his coma, Ningyu first shook his head. Then, seeing the true martial Dan in Zhou Tong's hand, he exclaimed, "Elder Zhou, you refined a high-grade, true martial Dan." "Elder Zhou, don't look at me." The moment the pill was formed, I suddenly felt my head sink, and I fainted. Seeing Zhou Tong's confused expression, Ningyu's face was a little disappointed. What a pity that I couldn't see the moment the pill was formed. All right. Hearing this, Zhou Tong sighed and put the true martial Dan back into the jade bottle. He then said, "Ningyu, go back and get ready. We'll leave for the capital tomorrow morning." "All right, I'll go back and get ready. We'll meet at the city gate tomorrow morning." Nodding, Ningyu said goodbye to Zhou Tong and left the alchemy union. Looking at Ningyu's back, Zhou Tong's mind became more and more confused. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. There was only him and Ningyu in the alchemy room. Since he couldn't remember the process of forming the Dan, then there was a high chance that Ningyu remembered. Furthermore, a bold idea arose in his mind. The high-grade true martial Dan in the jade bottle was refined by Ningyu. While Zhou Tong was doubting it, Ningyu had already returned to the Ning family. Inside the room, Ningyu took out a few high-grade essence crystals, activated the spirit transformation art, and began cultivating. The path of cultivation was like rowing a boat against the current. If you don't move forward, you'll fall behind. The quality of this body was much worse than in his previous life. Ningyu had to put in a lot more effort to reach the height of his previous life. Swoosh! In the evening, when Ningyu was cultivating, a black figure suddenly appeared beside him. Who? The sudden appearance of the figure caused Ningyu to stand up instantly. Holding the soul-breaking sword horizontally in his hand, he shouted coldly, "What do you want?" At this moment, Ningyu gripped the soul-breaking sword tightly, and the essence chi in his sea of consciousness began to churn. As long as the figure in front of him dared to move, he would strike first. Your reaction is somewhat out of my expectations. The martial artist in black smiled and said, "Father?" Hearing this, Ningyu opened his mouth and quickly kept the soul-breaking sword. "Why are you here?" Walking to the chair and sitting down, Ning Hai said, "I originally planned to leave tomorrow morning, but now I've changed my mind. I'll leave tonight. Before I leave, there's something I need to tell you." With a slightly solemn expression, Ning Hai said in a deep voice, "Tomorrow, you'll be heading to the capital with Zhou Tong. I hope that you can enter Danwu College to cultivate." "Father, you wanted to enter Danwu College?" Ningyu asked doubtfully, "But I've already missed the ice cave assessment. I'm afraid it'll be difficult for me to enter Danwu College. You don't have to worry about this." Waving his hand, Ning Hai flicked his sleeve, and suddenly a semicircular blue pendant appeared in his hand. "When the time comes, give this pendant to an old man named Wu Xie from Danwu College. He will help you." Wu Xie. Frowning slightly, Ningyu seemed to have a slight impression of this name, but he could not grasp it. Swoosh! At this moment, Ning Hai's figure flashed, and he left the room. "Remember, before you see Wu Xie, remember not to let anyone see this pendant." Although Ningyu had left the room, Ning Hai's voice still echoed in his ears. Blue pendant. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu released his soul power and wanted to enter the pendant. Chi. However, as soon as his soul power entered the pendant, it was devoured. Devouring pendant? His eyes narrowed. Ningyu was shocked. He did not expect the semicircular pendant in his hand to be the devouring pendant. "Forget it. I better make some preparations. I still have to go to the capital with Elder Zhou tomorrow." Shaking his head, Ningyu kept the pendant in his storage ring. The next morning, when the first ray of sunlight rose, Ningyu bid farewell to Ningtang and rushed towards the city gates of Tianxian City. Not long later, Ningyu arrived at the city gates of Tianxian City. "Elder Zhou, sorry to have kept you waiting." Seeing Zhou Tong, Ningyu was a little embarrassed. He did not expect him to arrive so early. "My apologies." Ningyu, I just arrived as well." Zhou Tong smiled and said, "I can't set off now. There's another person coming." "There's another person?" Ningyu was taken aback and asked, "Elder Zhou, is there someone else participating in the alchemy conference, Walla?" At this moment, the void in the sky trembled and countless air currents gathered at one spot. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.